Okay, I was going to review this game anyway, but it's not doing very well in sales. No one's really talking about it, and I saw this pop up in my feed. So we're going to do a response to this video because I feel like everything that has been said about this game is completely retarded. I feel like the game is getting a bad rep, and I think it's one of the greatest beat 'em ups of all time. No joke. I swear down. Okay, I don't know how anybody can legitimately hate this game. It's doing more than most of the stuff that he's even, defending in this video. So this is Top Hat Gaming. The only time I've ever looked into him before was something Gamer J Lee mentioned him, and I looked him up. But other than that, I haven't been watching his content. I don't know much about him, and this is not a personal attack against him. However, I do feel like this video is an attack against this game, on the basis that it's not just a review. It's like it shits on things that are not in the game, and they shouldn't be in the game. It's like nobody wants that in the game, yet we're expected to believe that this should be in the game. Now, it could be just personal opinion, but I feel like this game does away with a lot of the bullshit that we see in like modern games that is unnecessary. This game is a breath of fresh air. This game just comes at you and it's full throttle from start to finish. It's just action non-stop. No bullshit cutscenes. They just do a little bit of talking. You hit the A button and you're just gone and you're into the next scene. It's like, bam, now we're fighting again. There's no bullshit, no garbage. We're just full throttle. So this game's just full throttle the whole time. It's a blast from start to finish. And I can't see why anybody would hate this. And this game does stuff that most of these games he's going to be talking about can't even do. Like 6-player co-op in one house on one TV, man. Like, that's huge. That's huge. Even the X-Men arcade port on the Xbox 360 can't do that. It could just about do it on the PS3 if you have that version somewhere, right? So there's not many beat 'em ups other than The Great Shredder's Revenge, which trying to say like this game or Shredder's Revenge, I think this game's better than Shredder's Revenge. I'll swear to you, I think this game is better than Shredder's Revenge. Aside from the fact there's no online, but if this game had online, I feel like this game would be over that game. Okay, the Shredder's Revenge is a great game, but when you fight the bosses in that game, that a lot of them have like unavoidable hits. I feel like it's cheap when you fight some of the bosses in that game. This game, I feel like you can avoid those hits. I feel like this is more of a classic style beat 'em up where you can move in front and behind the character and actually dodge attacks. You don't get that feel in Shredder's Revenge. You have to like spam special moves. That's the game. And it's a good game. It's great gameplay, and that's a great game. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I just think this one takes it to another level. I think this is more of a classic beat 'em up than that game is. This game is like what that game should have been. It's better, okay? Like I'm being serious, like gameplay wise, okay? It seems like boss battle. Now it's not as tidy when you like fighting through the levels, and I even say that when I was playing it live. It's like it feels like you just do it a little tweak. The gameplay just a little tweak, but that's it. Like it wasn't like a major like, whoa, the gameplay is horrendous. It's like I played Mega Battle, okay, a few years ago, and I liked that game, but there were obviously gameplay flaws. Like the hit detection was horrible. Like we all played that game. The people that wanted to play that game played that game, and it was flawed. Okay, this game looks better graphically than that game. This game, and that game was only 4-player co-op. So, as a connoisseur of beat 'em ups and as a connoisseur of Power Rangers games, I feel like I played a decent amount of them to know about them. Probably more than Top Hat Gaming does. Shots fired. But I just don't see how this review is so negative. Like, I can understand like a review where you say, look, this is not for me. I didn't enjoy this section of the game. But he seems to shit on every single aspect of this game. Apart from the story, which I would say the story here is weaker than the one in Mega Battle. I think the story here is probably the weakest element of the game, but do we really care about story in beat 'em up games? It's about the gameplay. I mean, first and foremost, no one cares about Streets of Rage's story. Like, yeah, we do a little bit. It's like 4 or 5 cutscenes. You know, we like it. We like the concept, and but it's not really about the story. It's about the gameplay. It's about fighting a motherfucking kangaroo. No one is sitting there going, yeah, this game needs like an epic like story monologue. Like, it's not a story driven game. Okay, it's not a Dragon Age. It's not a freaking Mass Effect. It's not that. All right. Beat 'em up shouldn't be, and so, but then he trying to say the story is the strongest aspect is actually insulting, because that's probably the weakest aspect. Because, like I say, I think the story was done better in Mega Battle, and the story was done better in the Mega Drive game, Power Rangers the movie. That follows the movie, and then it has extra stuff from the show. Like, those games follow the story of Power Rangers better. Right? This one doesn't really follow the story of Power Rangers. It's a new story, and it's an Elseworld story, and they just threw stuff together to make cool levels. Then they made the levels, and then we're like, okay, how can we make this fit into a story? That's fine. It's still a good game. It's I don't know how much is going to make the final edit here, but we're going to go through this video now, so rant over. Let's get into the video, okay?
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Revenge is the latest brand new beat 'em up to join the all-star cast of big brand franchises that have received a retro revival. As someone who grew up as a 90s kid with a hyper focus on both the Power Rangers show and 16-bit gaming, you can imagine just how desperately I wanted this game to be amazing. My expectations were sky high, and for good reason. The last 5 years have delivered a resurgence of beat 'em up greats, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, Streets of Rage 4, and River City Girls 2, proving that this genre...
So that's why you lost me on this review. I'm going to be honest. River City Girls 2. Game looks like trash out of the gate. Like, it looks terrible. That art style there makes me want to puke. On top of the fact we're playing as a bunch of fucking big girls' blouses. It's literally River City Girls. I don't even understand the concept of that. Why I want to fucking go around in this fucking putrid art style beating people up. It's like that Scott Pilgrim game. It's like, I never understood that either. Like, and I know that was made by the people that eventually made these great games we got now. But that game is just like, I don't care about Scott Pilgrim. I don't care about those characters. Like, I don't want to be associated with that game. I don't like that fucking universe, all right? So it's the same with this shit. It's like, look, it's putrid. Like, the actual graphics make me want to puke. I'm not lying, right? And this game is 2-player. That's your lot, 2-player. Okay. What a great game. 2-player. Oh, well, you can play online. Okay, well done. Play online, 2-player. Well done. Okay. Shredder's Revenge Ninja Turtles game is 6-player. 6-player online. Okay, so when he makes the criticism, it's not as good as Shredder's Revenge. Okay. Okay, I'll give you that one. River City Girls 2? You're trying to tell me that Rita's Rewind is not as good as River City Girls 2. That is horseshit. That is absolute horseshit. Power Rangers Mega Battle plays fucking 4 players. Now, who the fuck wants to play a Power Rangers game, right? Who wants a Power Rangers game? Okay, you might want to play it solo. I played it solo. I enjoyed it solo. But what I'm saying is, who wants to have no ability to play the game with other people? That's a huge win for this game. Okay, you want to play it with more people. It's a Power Rangers game. This game fits into an arcade. If this game released in an arcade format, like Ninja Turtles fucking did years ago, like the 1989 arcade and the freaking Turtles in Time, this would have been a legendary game. If this game came out back then, it would be a legendary game. I'm telling you right now. But for some reason, we got this like guy here trying to tell us that River City Girls 2 is a good game, but this game isn't. Like, what? Look at this putrid mess. And you're going to tell... No, I'm sorry. You lost me there. But let's continue.
Can not only survive, but thrive in the modern gaming landscape, functioning as some of the best. What made this situation even more intriguing to me was that unlike Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Power Rangers franchise has never really had a top-tier video game adaptation. Instead, we've mostly seen games that were, at best, okay.
Correct. And this may be the best Power Rangers game of all time. And if you're a Power Rangers fan, you're denying yourself the pleasure of this game, because this is the best Power Rangers game, okay? It's like, you got this, Mega Battle, which isn't as good as this, but I enjoyed it, but we'll get more into that as this video progresses. But there's this Mega Battle, which you can't even buy anymore, and basically the Mega Drive one I wouldn't even entertain. And that's the Mega Drive Power Rangers, the movie game. Not the fighting game, the beat 'em up. Power Rangers the movie, the beat 'em up on the Mega Drive. Genesis, if you're in America. That is a good game. But it's flawed, okay? It is flawed. Now, but it's a good game. It's worth checking out. So, the one on the Super Nintendo that he's going to reference throughout this video is, in my opinion, one of the weaker Power Rangers games. I put Mega Battle over it. I honestly do. Like, it's horrible. That game is horrible. Now, I don't have the nostalgia goggles for any of these games, okay? So you're going to say, oh, well, you played this one as a kid. No, I didn't play any of these games as a kid. I did not own a Mega Drive as a kid, okay? Power Rangers was coming out right on the cusp of when, like, the PlayStation and all that shit. Like, we were heading into the next generation of gaming. It was like 1994, 5, whatever, right? I can't remember. When was the movie out? The movie came out towards the end of all that Power Rangers. So that's when that game came out. I didn't own a Mega Drive, and I didn't know anybody that owned that game. So I'd never played that game, nor did I play the Super Nintendo one at the time. I played them much, much, much later, like a few years ago, okay? Because I started to get more and more into beat-em-ups over time, especially with all these new ones coming out. I'm like, oh, well, that's tons I haven't even played, right? So I've played these games. I've completed the freaking Mega Drive one. And I'm telling you right now, okay, the Mega Drive one's good, Mega Battle's good, and this one is fantastic. Rita's Rewind is the best Power Rangers game. There's no, you can't argue this. I'm sorry, there's no way you can argue this. This is the best Power Rangers game. And you're going to deny yourself that, because this guy's going to try and tell you that the Super Nintendo game, which is, in my opinion, and widely regarded as one of the worst Power Rangers games, worse than the one on the Mega Drive, like, is better. How? It's not better in any aspect. The features he's going to talk about in the Super Nintendo game are features no one wants. Let's just go over here.
Titles that coasted on the show's massive popularity, rather than standing out on their own merits. It was typical licensed fare, really. Now, with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers celebrating 30 years since its craze first took over the world, you'd think this would be the perfect opportunity for developers to finally deliver the definitive Power Rangers game.
Which they have. That's what you're buying. Rita's Rewind is the definitive Power Rangers game. It has Zord battles, 6-player. Like, the only thing this game misses is online. If this game had online, what would be the arguments? Like, it has everything. It has, like, on-rail shooting sections. It has, like, Star Fox type levels where you fly around. Players like the different Zords and shit. Players all the Zords from the first Power Rangers. Like, the only way they can make it better is if they, like, include, like, Thunder Zords and Ninja Zords and different, like, Rangers. Like, they bring Adam and freaking Rocky in and shit like this. Like Mega Battle did. The White Ranger's missing. Like, you could bring him in. Like, Lord Zed. These are all things that were in Mega Battle, by the way. And that game was shit on from a great height by everybody for being, like, a Flash game, okay? Like, literally everything he's going to complain about was done in Mega Battle. And that game was shit on from a great height. And I enjoyed that game. But this game is I'm not going to sit here and defend Mega Battle. But I am to an extent, but I'm not going to say, oh, well, Mega Battle's a game that you need to go out and buy. I'm not because you can't buy it anyway, because it's been taken down. This is a game you should go out and buy, 100%. This game is a game, this is top tier. This is like X-Men arcade tier. This is Ninja Turtles arcade tier, Double Dragon. It's all of that. This game is up there with the greats. I'm swear down, okay? I swear down. I'm not making that up. This is not a troll video, okay? What other Power Rangers game is 6-player? Mega Battle's 4-player. The Mega Drive one's 2-player. The Super Nintendo is 1-player. I'm pretty sure. Like, off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it's 1-player, right? A 1-player Power Rangers game, he's going to try and argue, is better than a 6-player Power Rangers game. It's a Power Rangers game. You want to play with all the Power Rangers. Like, you want to play it with your friends. I'm going to play this over Christmas with my brothers, hopefully, and stuff. Like, we're going to have at least 3-4 players on this game. Maybe more. Like, we're going to play the shit out of this. The same as you do with, like, Ninja Turtles and stuff. And that you can play online, which is better, which is great. I just can't believe this review. Like, and I'm going to just keep... There's going to be, like, a 9-hour review of me just ranting out this fucking review.
But time seemed right. We're in the midst of a beat-em-up renaissance, and the stage was set for a game that could finally do justice to the franchise. A game that fans have, like me, been waiting for since childhood. But unfortunately, that's not what we got.
It is what we got. It is. That's the game.
Hated this game. And today, in my regular, juicy fashion, I'm going to explain why. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Big Daddy Top Hat here. This is why I found Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind a huge disappointment. Yeah.
And now we get straight into the ads, and the ads are going to fucking tell on you even more, right?
2024 has been a strange year for me, in terms of the two genres I enjoy discussing the most here. Since Tekken 8 dropped back in January, there hasn't been another major fighting game release. And until the Power Rangers game came out earlier this week, we hadn't seen a significant new beat 'em up either. To put it bluntly, it's been
Do we need a beat 'em up every freaking year? No, we just need good ones. If they come out every 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, as long as we get good ones, right? Now, I'm gonna just stop you right there, because there has been beat 'em ups come out this year. What about G.I. Joe? Now, I ain't played the game. I'm not going to defend the game and say it's good, but there has been beat 'em ups this year. So I don't know where you've been.
Bit of a drought for both genres. The anticipation has been building, and when new releases are this sparse, the stakes feel even higher. So when a long-awaited game turns out to be a disappointment, the letdown hits that much harder. While this title didn't...
This game is not a letdown. Like, I don't understand where you're coming from. You're comparing it to a memory of a Super Nintendo game. Like, I seriously don't understand.
Quite hit the mark for me, let's face it. That's partly because the last decade has spoiled us with some incredible beat-em-ups.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You might have beat-em-up fatigue because there's been a ton of good ones. Streets of Rage, Ninja Turtles. You had the Cowabunga collection come out with all that stuff. You had the Capcom freaking... whatever collection with all the beat-em-ups on it. There's been a ton of collections of old ones. There's been a ton of new ones. Double Dragon 4 came out a few years ago. There's been a ton of beat-em-ups, right? I agree. So you may have beat-em-up fatigue. I understand. But the actual game here is good.
Each and every one of you need to play. The real knockout here...
You need to play this. Look at the state of this. You need to play this. And I'm telling you that because you can get fucking money off at instantgaming.com. Make sure you pick up River City Girls 2. No, I'm not going to pick up River City Girls 2 from instantgaming.com. Oh, this is what doesn't make sense. Like, I can understand, like if you're coming from the position of this game is not as good as Streets of Rage 4 and Shredder's Revenge, even though Streets of Rage 4 is only 2-player co-op online and 4-player co-op at home, right? Shredder's Revenge is 6-player co-op online, 6-player at home. So that's probably the one that I would say is probably the one you got the most argument here for. The Power Rangers game is 6-player at home. It's 6-player. It's if you got it on the Switch, it's 6-player on the playground with your friends. Like if you go to school. Like if you're a Power Rangers fan now as a kid, right? Because people still watch this show. It was very popular on like I think it was Netflix or whoever had it up. Kids were watching this and kids were into this. Again, the resurgence because of all that shit. Okay? Kids still like Power Rangers. It's still a thing, all right? So yeah, this isn't the Power Rangers they're currently into now, but it's still Power Rangers. They're still going to be drawn to the weapons, the Zords, the explosions, and all that sort of stuff. It's still going to appeal to them, right? So this isn't just a game for like old people. in essence, it should be a game for everybody. Like this game could be big, okay? But it's got to be marketed and targeted and done the right way. But this is potentially... This is on the Switch. This is everywhere. Like, you can play 6 players. Like, you know what I mean? But you can't connect 2 Switches and play the game. I understand that. But you can connect controllers to a Switch and play it. Like, it is possible. You can play like 2, 3, 4, 5 players on the playground. Just set your Switch up somewhere and you just play it with the controllers. Like, it's possible. I'm just saying, this game gives you options. What River City Girls gives you 2 players. That's what it gives you. And look at the graphics. Look at the fucking art style, man. Like, that is Pukesville. That is Pukesville, Tennessee.
I can hook you up with massive discounts on some of the best games in the genre. How about 60% off the post-poundage?
How can you say that?
Every one of you need to play. The real knockout here, I can hook you up with massive discounts on some of the best games in the genre.
Some of the best games in the genre. River City Girls 2. Mind blown. Like, I don't even care if the mechanics are, like, super good. It's River City Girls 2. Like, I'd be embarrassed to own that game, okay? And so should anybody. Like... It's embarrassing enough to be a Power Rangers fan or a Ninja Turtles fan when you're fucking getting on in age. I'll tell you that. But you're not going to see me playing River City Girls 2. Ain't gonna happen, right? That's it. I draw the line at that garbage, right? Now, so, and feature-wise, feature set-wise, it doesn't compete with this game. Just saying.
How about 60% off the post-pounding Streets of Rage 4? Or maybe up to a whopping 78% off the epic River City Girls series. And don't miss the
epic River City Girls series. And now we're into this fucking piece of shit. So this is the Double Dragon game where everybody's got these like deformed heads like they fell out of a brink. This game has been shilled by every fucking YouTuber up and down the fucking planet. It's not a good game. It looks average at best. It's like this roguelike fucking game where you, like, every time you play, like, you go different route and whatever. Like, it's not a proper beat-em-up. This is like a beat-em-up RPG type game. It's totally different. Like, I wouldn't put it in the same category as a Shredder's Revenge or a Rita's Rewind. I wouldn't even include this. It's a roguelike RPG type beat-em-up. Okay, and the combat is slow. You can tell by videos and everything, it's slow. There's a free Double Dragon hack that's better than this freaking game. Where, like, you can play as fucking Hulk Hogan. Like, I'm telling you now. Like, I'm being serious, okay? Like, this game is trash. Just straight up. Like, as a Double Dragon game. Like, if you're going to get a Double Dragon game, get Double Dragon 4. Because that is trying to look like an NES game, and it does it well. This just looks putrid. Like, graphics matter, but art style matters. Like, art style matters more than graphics, and this game is putrid. Like, I don't understand. Some people, like, it's like they have problems with their eyes. Like, does this guy have problems with his eyes? Like, River City Girls 2 and this putrid Double Dragon game over Rita's Rewind that looks fantastic. Like, it looks amazing. It looks like that 16-bit style. It looks like a freaking Super Nintendo game or a Mega Drive game, but with better colors. And then it does the whole Star Fox fucking levels and all that shit, which you couldn't even do back then. Like, it's everything. Like, it's the game. So how are these games better? I don't understand.
Find Double Dragon Gaiden slashed by 80% to just $5.19.
$5. That's about what the game should be worth. It was the same price as this game is now when it came out. And this game is a million times better. That game was like 25 quid when it came out. That Double Dragon game. I swear down it was. And this game was 25 quid to pre-order a week before because they had it on like a pre-order fucking sale. So you actually save money by being an early adopter. Like that, how can you fault that? But hey, let's shit on it and promote a game for $5. Sorry. Shit on it and promote this fucking piece of shit game here that failed also. That's not even as good as it. And then try and pretend like this one's a good one and that. Why? What, because you're selling it? Like, you're going to shill it because you're selling it? Like, you're not selling this one. Is that why you hate it? I don't get it. Because this game shits on that game from a great height. There ain't no 6-player co-op in fucking Double Dragon fucking whatever it is. There just isn't.
But that's not all. By using my affiliate links, you can score up to 90% off of thousands of other games too. If you've been eyeing some new titles for your collection, now's the time to strike. Why wait? Treat yourself. You deserve it. Speaking of getting what we deserve, we should expect real value when we spend our hard-earned cash.
And you got it. You got one of the greatest beat-em-ups of all time. No word of a lie. It is.
When I dropped £30, a steep $38 on this nostalgia trip, I was hoping for a game I'd want to revisit again and again. Instead, I found something I have no intention to ever touch again, unless they roll out some serious improvements.
So, you want to revisit River City Girls and River City Girls 2 over and over. You want to revisit that Double Dragon game over and over and over. But not this game. Like, it doesn't wash for me. Like, you can't sell me on that. Like, there's no way in hell you're telling me that those games are better than this one. Like, you can't sell me on that as an argument. Like, I don't... those games look putrid. Look at the screen. It does not make me want to throw up. That's a start, right? In fact, my eyes are like, wow. Like, I want to look closer at the detail. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. Like, it looks like what the Super Nintendo game should have looked like. That's how I'm get that. This should have been the Super Nintendo game. This would have been awesome. This visually here, that's amazing looking. Especially with the scan lines turned off, like, because those don't help at all. Turn that shit off. Like, that's fantastic looking. Like, and then we're gonna be like, River City Girls 2, and those games look putrid. Like, out of the fucking gate. I don't want to play them. Look at them.
Which might have you thinking, how can someone possibly hate a game built on such beloved memories?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. How can you hate this fucking game when it does everything and more that it needs to do to be a great fucking beat 'em up? It's a great game, full stop. Beat 'em up or not. It has other sections that are good.
Isn't the nostalgia enough to carry it through? Well, it turns out that nostalgia can only take you so far. When the actual
sequence, by the way, with all this it's phenomenally drawn. Like, this opening, like, animated sequence is phenomenally drawn. More phenomenal.
It feels like it's stuck in the past. And
it's
not
stuck
in a good
in
way.
the past.
I'm all for retro charm, and there's a difference between...
How is it stuck in the past when this game literally does things that you cannot do on 16-bit hardware? You can't do this in 16-bit hardware. He's literally showing clips of stuff you cannot do in 16-bit hardware. It can't be done. So what are you talking about? How is it stuck in the past? What makes this one stuck in the past, but Shredder's Revenge is not stuck in the past? What? Go on, explain.
Classic and outdated. Instead of delivering a refined experience that respects the source material, what I got felt like a slapdash effort that hopes you'll be too blinded by memories to notice its flaws.
Right. It sounds like you're describing Mega Battle, where the hit detection was so bad, like you'd punch and it go right through an enemy. Like, Like, it was bad. Like, the hit detection, most people would admit that even the people that like the game, the hit detection was not great. But it was playable, but it was not great. This game doesn't have that. Okay, this game just feels a little bit sluggish. It needs like a little bit of polish, and that's it. But I've played way more sluggish beat 'em ups than this. Okay, I played them, right? So I don't see the fucking logic here. Like, okay, it's not as good as Shredder's Revenge. It's like a tiny little bit away from the greatness of Shredder's Revenge in terms of like. It's mad. Like, honestly, I think, like I say, I think this game plays better than Shredder's Revenge, but for different reasons. But when Shredder's Revenge came out, that had issues with, like, its gameplay. That was flawed. If you, like, have an unpatched version of the game, you can tell the difference, right? It's like this game has the potential to be tweaked very slightly, just very slightly. And that problem goes away. So I don't have an issue with that. Like, and I'd be happy if they never touch it, because quite frankly, I think it's decent enough. Like, it's a top fucking 10 fucking beat 'em up of all time as it is, right? Like, it's up there, right? Maybe not top 10. Maybe if I went through them, I wouldn't put it in my top 10. But it's up. It's the best Power Rangers game. It's up there with Shredder's Revenge. It has to be. It's amazing. Like, I can't believe this shit, man.
Quality in this one feels all over the place, and this game is a cash grab disguised as a trip down memory lane.
It's not. How is it a cash grab? It's 25 new, right? And it's going to go on sale, because all these games eventually go on sale, and you'll be able to pick it up probably in like 6 months or whatever, or maybe even less, for 15 fucking 16 quid or something. And that's perfectly reasonable. That's the same price as like a Streets of Rage or Shredder's Revenge is the same. Only those games have DLC out the ass that you have to buy on top. But we're not talking about that. Mega Battle did this. Mega Battle had day one DLC for the fucking like Rocky and Adam and Aisha and freaking the White Ranger. That's what they had, day one DLC in Mega Battle. This game ain't doing day one DLC. This game might not have DLC at all because it hasn't fucking been received well, right? So we may never get the White Range or any of that shit. Or, you know, you could do like Thunder Zords or, you know, Ninja Zords and all that sort of stuff, right? Or you could add in like Rangers from other series like Zeo, Space, Turbo, whatever. Like, you could do that. You could have the Gold Ranger from Zeo and, you know, stuff like this. Okay, that'd be cool, right? There's potential for DLC for this game. I don't think we're going to see any, but there's potential. Now, but on the back of that, it's like, and you could do more levels. You could do like you could do like this game again, but if it was popular, you could do that. But it's not going to happen because it's not popular enough. But the mind-blowing it just blows my mind that you're saying like this game is not a rip-off. The game just came out. It's 25 quid for pre-ordering. It's 30 quid, whatever now. Price ain't going to stay like that. But I think it's worth every penny. I'll be honest with you, I think it's worth that money. I swear down. Because it's one of the best beat 'em ups I've ever played. I do not regret spending. I'd give them more money. Like, seriously. I might go and buy a copy on another console. I'll definitely buy some if they make some physical copies. I'll be straight on it. I'll be straight on that shit. All right?
Which to me makes it particularly infuriating, because when a developer leans this hard on nostalgia, they're making a promise.
Listen. Whoa. How can it not lean on nostalgia? It's a Power Rangers game. How else can it... What... Like, it doesn't... What you're saying doesn't make sense, right? Well, we're leaning on nostalgia. The fucking game... It's a Power Rangers game. By definition, it has to be nostalgia. It has to have the fucking Zords and the fucking characters from the... So what do you mean? Like, you could say the same about Shredder's Revenge. I'm losing my fucking voice, by the way, because I don't know how fucking this is going to go. How? Shredder's Revenge is leaning on nostalgia. What the fucking hell? All that shit is from the fucking Ninja Turtles show. How can it not lean on nostalgia? It does not make sense what you're saying.
That they understand what made the original brand special. Instead, I ended up with a reminder that sometimes our memories are better left untouched. It's so frustrating because, in my opinion, the visual, story, and music all got completely nailed. The game looks...
Okay, so first of all, none of the music is from the show. It's all original music. Mega Battle had music from the show. That's nostalgia baiting. It's got that sort of like, you can run and you can hide. That is in Mega Battle. That plays all the fucking time. Like the songs in Mega Battle, those are nostalgia bait. Those are from the freaking show. This is completely original music. So how is original music that is completely more or less original? Some of it's got the feel of the show. Some of it feels like it could be from the show, but it isn't music from the show. It's original, right? So how's that nostalgia baiting? Number one. Oh, yeah, it's got the Power Rangers theme. Oh, yeah, well, I should hope so. It's a Power Rangers game. That's nostalgia baiting. Well, then let's not put the Power Rangers theme in the fucking game. Although, it's got to be in the game. It's a Power Rangers game. So, they're damned if they do, and they're damned if they fucking don't. Let's go back like 2 seconds here.
Music all got completely nailed. It's so frustrating because, in my opinion, the visual, story, and music all...
The visuals, yes, agreed. Nailed. The story, though, Mega Battle story's better. The story of the one on the Mega Drive's better. Well, not objectively, but in my opinion, yeah, those are better. This, you're taking a character from the newer series, which I didn't watch. I didn't get involved with that shit. So, I don't know jack shit about Robo Rita, so how's that nostalgia baiting? It's like, oh yeah, well, here's the characters from like 1994 or 3 or whatever, and then we're going to throw in Robo Rita from the new series. It's like, that's not nostalgia baiting, is it? Because that just came out. So, again, it's not nostalgia baiting. It's trying to be different. It's actually trying to be new. It's like, okay, what's new about Power Rangers? Well, we got Robo Rita. Let's put Robo Rita in there. I would have been happier with Lord Zed. I want the nostalgia trip. I want Lord Zed. I want Serpentera. And Mega Battle had that stuff, and that's why I like that game. This game doesn't do that. This game is not the nostalgia trip. This game nails on its fucking gameplay. That's where it wins. And this guy says that's its weakest aspect. That's its core, strongest aspect is the gameplay. That is why this game is so good. This is a game that it doesn't matter if you don't like Power Rangers. Right? If you don't like if you don't like Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge is still a good game. That's this game. This game is still a good game. It's not just about... you don't have to be a Power Rangers fan to enjoy the game. It's that good. I swear down.
All got completely nailed. The game looks stunning, with detailed environments and character designs that evoke the right sense of nostalgia and atmosphere. In trailers and gameplay videos, this one looks fantastic. Story-wise, Rita's Rewind weaves together the classic charm of the original series with a fresh twist on time travel and villainy.
Right, exactly. It's a fresh, new story. So that's not nostalgia bait. Robo Rita is a character from the new series. It is not from the old Power Rangers. So how is it nostalgia tripping?
In this game, Robo Rita, a mechanical version of the iconic villain, Rita Repulsa, uses a time portal to go back and team up with her younger self. Together, they aim to alter history and destroy the Power Rangers' future. This means the robotic Rita from present time heads back to 30 years ago, when the original series was set, and interferes with the iconic events from that timeline, so a fun premise for a plot. This story links directly to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, a 2023 special celebrating the franchise's 30th anniversary, where Robo Rita originally emerges as a formidable threat. Once and Always explores themes of legacy and loss, including the loss of the original Yellow Ranger, Trini Kwan, whose real-world actress, Thuy Trang, sadly died at the age of just 27. Her character's legacy was honoured in the new special, where Trini's story was continued through her daughter, Mina Kwan, played by
Okay, are we reviewing the show or are we reviewing the game?
Charlie Kirsch. The game, Rita's Rewind, on the other hand, delves into the chaos of time manipulation and gives players the chance to battle enemies pulled from different eras of the Power Rangers timeline. Both stories celebrate the enduring bond of the Rangers and their fight to protect the timeline, so in my opinion at least, there is nothing wrong with the story side of things. The story is engaging enough to keep you invested.
There's nothing wrong with the story, but the story in Mega Battle is better. The story in the Mega Drive game is better. That's what I'm saying. But you're going to say that the Super Nintendo game is somehow better than this game when that has like no fucking... That story just sucks. It's because it's Power Rangers the movie on Super Nintendo and it doesn't follow the movie at all.
With the right blend of callbacks and new ideas to feel both familiar and fresh. As mentioned, the soundtrack is an absolute triumph too, capturing the spirit of the original while delivering tracks that are genuinely enjoyable to listen to.
Yes, new tracks, not nostalgia baiting.
One of the highlights of the original Super Nintendo game for me was always the music, and this one has exactly the same tone. And yet, despite getting all of these elements right, the gameplay is where everything falls apart.
I don't see how it does. The gameplay is amazing.
Funky mechanics, uninspired design,
how are they
and all...
Look, for a start, this is not a massive studio making this. This ain't being made by like a triple A developer, is it? Okay, so let's use our fucking brains here and say, okay, what are my expectations from a studio that may be not as big as some of the other studios, or maybe the cost of development, the time, and all that sort of stuff is going to factor in here. Okay. So I'm willing to overlook that maybe the gameplay on the Star Fox sections is not as good as Star Fox, maybe. Maybe. Just throwing it out there. But I fucking enjoyed every minute. Like, honestly, I thought it was amazing. But is it as good as Star Fox? Hell no. And no one's saying it is. Okay? So what do you mean by it's clunky? Okay? Yeah, I even said that myself, but am I really expecting the game to be like this legendary, amazing, like, no. So expectation-wise, it's amazing. The gameplay is flawed, sure. All games have slight flaws, but this is a legendary beat-em-up. This is like one of the top. I'm telling you now.
Over-the-place stage types with poorly balanced challenges drain the joy out of the experience. It's like being given a beautifully wrapped gift, only to open it and find something broken inside. A cruel disappointment when you're expecting something truly special. The Power Rangers game I grew up with was okay, but it had its flaws.
Yeah, but it's way worse than this game. Way fucking worse. I mean, just look at the Yellow Ranger.
Only to open it.
There's the Yellow Ranger. Okay? That's what the Yellow Ranger should pretty much look like. Maybe the fucking ears are a little bit too much. That's
and
my
find something broken inside. A cruel disappointment when you're expecting something truly special. The Power Rangers
look at the Yellow Ranger in this fucking game. That doesn't look like the fucking... It doesn't look like, even look like a Power Ranger. It looks like a VR trooper. Like, it's a man. It's a fucking transformer. Yet, what... Like, you're going to literally put it side by side and say, this game's better, bro. Like, that's nostalgia. That's fucking what nostalgia does. That's why you say, oh, I played this when I was fucking, like, 8 years old on the Super Nintendo, and therefore it's a better game. No, it's not a better game. It's not even close to being it's not even a good game.
The game I grew up with was okay, but it had its flaws. And I had high hopes that this new one would surpass it. For Christmas I received that game, I was a Power Rangers superfan. The show had practically taken over my entire childhood. I was obsessed with Power Rangers and owned just about everything tied to the franchise. Action figures, Zords, a lunchbox, a backpack, the sticker album, you name it, I had it. I even had my own costume. But when it came to the Power Rangers video game, while I did enjoy it, I could tell it didn't stack up to other big titles of the time.
However, you're going to now say that this one on Super Nintendo somehow better than the new one. How?
Christmas, Donkey Kong Country ended up getting far more playtime, even though I initially had much less interest in the Great Ape. In fact, I felt Earthworm Jim entertained me a lot more too. Now that's a franchise that deserves a nostalgia revival. As for the Super Nintendo game, it's primarily a side-scrolling beat-em-up, just not one of the better ones from the era. The gameplay involves
the Mega Drive one's better too.
In one of 5 Power Rangers, each with slightly different abilities, and defeating foes before morphing into the Power Ranger suit.
Again, that does not look anything like the Pink Ranger. They just palette swapped them all. They didn't even bother to do different body types.
And ultimately,
No skit, no fuck all.
facing a boss battle at the end of each stage. The game is single player only and focuses on straightforward.
Yeah, exactly. It's single player only, a Power Rangers game. I need at least 2 player. Like, it's Power Rangers. Sorry. Epic fail.
Action-packed combat rather than more complex mechanics, like say in the good beat-em-ups of the time, like Turtles in Time and Streets of Rage 2. It doesn't hold up well against those games and is less polished overall.
Yes. And any idiot can tell you that the games, like, you don't even need to play the games, right? And I can tell you that these games here look a lot more like Rita's Rewind than that other one. Just saying. So what were they emulating? What were they going for here? Okay, there's even parts in Rita's Rewind that are a callback to freaking Final Fight. They actually have enemies that look like Final Fight enemies, okay? Spoilers. So that's what they were going for, and they nailed it.
Competition simply offered more depth, replayability and flair, making them standout titles in the beat-em-up genre. Looking back, I must say there are aspects of this game that impress me more now than they did back then though. For instance, the ability to play as all 5 Rangers in their unmorphed forms.
Right. So, one of the major criticisms of the Super Nintendo game is that you spend more time playing as the fucking crew than you do as playing as the Rangers, because you have to build up your power bar to then power into the Ranger. You can't just stop like, oh, all right, Power Ranger, boom, and I'm a Power Ranger. You have to actually build your energy to become one, okay? And that was one of the big complaints of the game, that you spend more time playing as Zack here than you do playing as a Ranger in a Power Rangers game. So that was a flaw of that game. Now you're telling me that you're going to twist it around and say, well, that's a success because you get to play as the person and not the Power. Most people want to play as the Power Ranger. Shock horror, it's a Power Rangers game. Okay? Some people want to put themselves in that suit. They don't even particularly care about the character. They just want to be the Red Ranger, the Green Ranger. They want to kids want to do that, right? They want to be that character. So just like I want now, like you just like turn on its head. It's like no one wants to play as those guys. Like if it's there, I don't mind it, but you should be able to transform like anytime you want. They should, and then turn it off anytime you want. Okay, there should be a mechanic there for that. Like why would you like? And the thing is, Mega Battle did this, and everybody hates that game, and it had this feature. And this is going to be a running theme. Every single feature he's going to complain is not in the game was in Mega Battle. And yet everybody shit on that game from a great high. I'm like one of the only people that likes that game.
With each character's design and fighting style reflecting their personalities. Billy fights with a cautious, awkward demeanour that fits his nerdy persona. Jason's combat style channels disciplined martial arts. And Zack incorporates stylish, rhythmic moves because he is black.
And that I'm not even going to comment on because I'll look like a racist for pointing out what he just said. Like, I will. Someone will say, like, you can't just be like, it's because he's black. Like, you can't say that. I mean, you can, but it looks strange.
And all of this was cool. It felt like the game didn't draw enough inspiration from the show's evolving storyline. It seemed to focus only on the earliest episodes, but by the time the game was released, Power Rangers had already introduced Lord Zed and the Thunder Megazord. To make matters much worse, the game didn't even feature the Green Ranger, who was at the time a fan favourite. His storyline was pivotal in hooking many kids and keeping them invested in the show for the long haul. So to call not seeing him in the game disappointing would be an understatement. For many of us, the Green Ranger was the heart of the series, the mysterious conflicted hero who elevated the show to new heights. His iconic storyline, complete with the Dragonzord and that unforgettable flute, was what made Power Rangers feel epic. Not seeing him included felt like a missed opportunity, a glaring...
Yeah, and he's not in the Mega Drive game because the White Ranger's in the Mega Drive game because it's based on the movie. So, there's only 2 Power Rangers games that you can play as the Green Ranger. And that's Rita's Rewind and Mega Battle. Yeah, there's the one-on-one fighting games. I know about those 2 before you start fucking... No, I'm talking about beat-em-ups, and it's only those 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? So, what again makes this game better than you're not making sense?
On a mission that made the game feel outdated before it even hit our screens. So holding such thoughts, one thing Rita's Rewind has made sure to do is include the Green Ranger and make his iconic and nostalgic arc a huge part of the game.
As did Mega Battle. Same thing happens. You unlock the Green Ranger through gameplay. You have to beat Lord Zed or whatever to unlock him. There you go.
But as stated, the story and art direction are great. They're not the problem. It's the gameplay that's such a letdown, leading to a title that, in my opinion, isn't
Gameplay is amazing.
even as good as the average Super Nintendo game that preceded.
That's horse shit. Okay, we're comparing this single player mess where it takes forever to even transform into a ranger. When you become a ranger, you don't even look like a ranger. You look like something out of VR Troopers. This is the clunky game, okay? This is way clunkier than the frickin'... I don't know if the Steam version or whatever the fuck he's playing is like terrible or something, but I played this on Xbox, and I'm telling you now, it's not clunky like this fucking Power Rangers fucking Super Nintendo game. I played this fucking game. I got a Super Famicom legit. I played this legit, okay? Like, I played this game. It's not good. It's not a good game at all. This is probably one of the weakest. The only thing I think that's worse is Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue on, like, the N64. Other than that, this game is pretty poor, okay?
Did it. I feel the main issue that plagues the quality of Rita's Rewind is that it tries to be the jack of all trades, but ends up a master of none. Rather than focusing on being a fantastic, refined beat-em-up like Shredder's Revenge, the game attempts to juggle 4 different gameplay styles. This makes it feel like a Battletoads-like game, ambitious but ultimately unfocused. The constant shift...
Okay, so let's go on to the meat of the matter. Are you trying to say that the game sucks because there's other sections in it that are not beat-em-ups? Because other beat-em-ups are always downtrodden and attacked for being just that, good beat-em-ups that don't have any, any other kind of stuff to them. It's just like, yeah, it's another beat-em-up. We played hundreds of them. This game does more than that, and you shoot them down in flames for trying to be creative and do like cool like Zord sections and stuff. And this is Power Rangers, so they have to incorporate that somehow. Do you just want the Zord battle to be like the one on the Mega Drive, where it's literally just another beat 'em up section? I mean, this is really creative and actually increases the value of the game. I mean, you say it yourself, there's like 3 games in one here. Like these sections where you can shoot and drive around and all this sort of stuff, that adds to the game. That adds value to the game, okay? This is a great game. I don't understand why you're saying, well, all these different sections are shit. I don't see how they're shit. I think they're all good. And I think the beat 'em up, the quality of the beat 'em up gameplay is just as good as Shredder's Revenge, if not better, because I prefer the way the bosses work in this game. I prefer the way you attack them. I prefer the whole dynamic of boss fights in this game feels much more solid. Yes, some of the gameplay at times feels a little bit sloppy, and you could argue the current Shredder's Revenge that's had multiple updates runs smoother, but when the game came out originally, it wasn't as smooth as that. This game has potential to be just tweaked just a little bit, and then that smoothness will be there. Not that this is bad in itself, you're trying to compare it to like the SNES one, and that one is really clunky compared to this, so I don't know if the Steam version is terrible or something, but the version I played on the Xbox is amazing. It's legendary status.
Between genres dilutes the overall experience, preventing any one style from reaching its full potential, leading to every gameplay type being full of holes and flaws that hinder the level of fun that can be had.
Example.
Instead of delivering polished, satisfying gameplay, it comes off as consistently inconsistent, leaving me wishing the developers had honed in on one core mechanic and perfected it.
This is the guy saying that River City Girls 2 is better than this game. This is the guy telling us that Double Dragon, that recent one, the roguelite one, is better than this. And you're saying this gameplay is bad. How? Like, you're listing off worse and worse games here. So how is this worse than those games? Those games don't have 6-player. Those games don't have any of this cool, like, Star Fox type levels. None of that. How is you saying, well, they're better beat 'em ups? Those games don't even look impressive. This game has the look. It has the graphical look, the fidelity. It looks cool. Like, it looks legit like a Super Nintendo game. It looks fantastic what they've done here. Or like a 90s arcade game. It looks fantastic. It's like a Turtles in Time. It's a fantastic looking game, and it plays fantastic. It plays like a game from that era. It plays like those arcade beat 'em ups. In fact, better, because in those games they were fucking, money munchers in the arcades, and those were really tough games that were designed to like eat money. This game isn't. This game has easy, normal, hard, and headache mode, which is like very hard, or nightmare mode. And this game has that. So you can play this on easy by yourself, no problem. It has all these different options of difficulty and challenge. And, if you want a real challenge, you can play the harder modes, and then that's better for more players, because you don't want to be playing on easy with multiple players because it'd be too easy, you see? Well, they give you all these options, and there's a lot to the game. Like, I don't understand. Like, what are you trying to say here?
Rather than stretching themselves thin with half-baked ideas, the result is a game that tries to...
Surely it's fully baked. I mean, there's 3 levels, like the sword level or whatever, I'm pretty sure, off the top of my head. And then you've got the motorbike levels. There's like 2 of those. So how are these half-baked ideas? I don't understand. I mean, in Battletoads, there's only one turbo tunnel in Battletoads. There's the surfing and there's all that other shit, but there's only one turbo tunnel. This is fleshed out, like, even more than that. It's got like multiple Zord sections, which are all different. They're all like basically Star Fox levels. I don't understand how that's a bad thing for the game. Like, how it's not fleshed out. I mean, it delivers. Like, I don't understand. What do you mean it's not fleshed out?
Do too much and ends up doing none of it particularly well, making what could have been an exciting, nostalgic experience.
But it does do it well. I don't understand. Like, how is... You're trying to say that the Super Nintendo beat-em-up gameplay is better, which it isn't. I mean, that's subjective. I'm not even saying that's an opinion. That's just objective. It isn't. So, what are you saying? There's no... Is there other games that do each one of these aspects better than this game? Maybe, yeah, sure, okay. I'm not expecting Star Fox levels in this game, though. So I don't see your point here. Like, okay, it's not as good as Star Fox in those levels. I'm not expecting it to be. But it's a cool deviation from the beat-em-up levels, and it breaks it up, and it keeps it entertaining. Like, this game's got to keep multiple people entertained. If you fire this up on Christmas Day or whatever, whenever you have people around at your house, how's it going to keep people entertained? Some people aren't as into beat-em-ups as other people, so with these other sections to break it up, I feel like it could give people a lift, or like, oh man, there's all this kind of crazy stuff happening. Like, this game is gonna like, have multiple people playing it, and so it's got to try and keep everybody engaged, and it's gonna do that more if it breaks out into these other like levels and stuff, like a motorbike chase and all this cool stuff is gonna help the game. It's like it helps the game. It makes it more. Like, I don't understand how this is a bad thing. Like, how you just want to straight up beat 'em up, end to end beat 'em up. Fine, that's an opinion you can have. Fine, but I don't understand, like, then saying like, well, this is the games you want to buy with my fucking 50% off or whatever. Get fucking Double Dragon for £5. Get fucking River City Girls 2. None of these games are even like one. They're not even close to this game. This game is greatness, and you're comparing it to utter trash, in my view. Like, it doesn't make sense. And when you got a vested interest in selling this shit, like, that is that what you're trying to do here? You're trying to say, don't buy this garbage. It's like, get River City Girls 2 for 71% off. Don't buy this game. Is that the MO here? Like, I don't get it. Like, this game shits on all those games. And those games, when they were new, cost the same as this game anyway, half of them. So I don't get it.
experience feel frustratingly fragmented and unpolished. So let's break down each of these types of play in detail and my issues of each. Let's begin with what is arguably the most important aspect, and likely the one most people are excited for when purchasing the game, the beat 'em up stages. While these levels are undeniably the most enjoyable part of the experience, they still fall short compared to similar games in the genre. There are many negative Steam reviews for this game, with many people highlighting that they think this one feels too slow compared to most other brawlers. To me, this complaint has grounds, but it's not the main aspect of why I found it frustrating. My issue is that I didn't always feel in control of the action, and when I took damage, it often didn't feel like a consequence of my own mistakes. Instead, it felt like it was due to clunky mechanics that allowed enemies or environmental hazards to land cheap shots. I could handle getting punched in the face by an enemy fair and square, but it was infuriating when a putty suddenly appeared from the far right of the screen and lobbed a projectile at me with little time to react. These moments felt cheap and happened far too frequently.
But you didn't even show an example of that here. So I don't really know what you're trying to say. What projectile are we talking about? There's the parts when the Tenga warriors are up shooting like shit with their wings. That can be annoying when they're up in... But the whole point is the game is not meant to be played by one person, is it? It's a multiplayer beat 'em up, so you have to take the rough with this move here. They've got to make it challenging for fucking 6 people, and if you're playing it by yourself, of course, there's going to be parts of the game where you're like, wouldn't it be helpful if there was another guy on the other side? Because most beat 'em ups play better in 2 players. We all know that, and that's most beat 'em ups. So this is not really news. I don't see how you're upset about a putty throwing something off the screen. I mean, happens in other games. I mean, are you telling me that that does not happen in Shredder's Revenge? That does not happen in your Precious River City Girls 2? I don't understand. This happens in all beat 'em ups. So you're pulling something out of thin air here, and you're not really showing us an exact example, and I don't really see how that ruins the entire game when that happens in other beat 'em ups too. Now, there's another example here I do remember, but I'll play it through first.
Same goes for random obstacles like boulders dropping on my head without warning.
How is that dropping on your head without warning? Okay, first of all, you've already cleared some of the enemies here because you've got one enemy here. So to get this clip, you've deliberately misled it. There's only way you could have done it is to deliberately misled it because the boulders were already falling. The boulders were already falling before this. You cut literally to a boulder falling on your head. There's one enemy here, and I know there was at least 2 or 3 enemies in this section. I'm going to pull up my gameplay and we're going to look at it.
Oh, I'm just going to get back up.
You'll see there's at least 2 or 3 enemies in that section normally. And I know if you stand in either this area or this area where there's no patches, as you can see there's patches where the boulders have been landing. If you don't stand in them patches, then you're not going to be hit. This would be the equivalent of complaining about the first Double Dragon, where you have to walk alongside that wall, and the statues come out with the stabby stab, and it's like an instant death if they hit you, and there's no pattern or anything whatsoever, and there's the bricks that come out and knock you off and all that. That's completely random in the first Double Dragon, known as one of the most legendary, beat 'em up arcade games of all time, the first Double Dragon. And yet you'd pull up something like that and be like, well, the game's horrible because this wall of death is in it. It's like, well, this game's horrible because it's got boulders. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like, so you don't like this one screen in the game. I think there's about 2 screens in the game with boulders. There is a section where Dragonzord is shooting missiles at you and stuff like this, but this is all an effort to improve the game. It's all an effort to make at each level unique, and it doesn't happen that often. If you want to talk about annoying shit, the only thing that I think is annoying is those time crystals that come in every now and again, but once you know where they are and you beat them up over and over again, typically they're not a problem because you know it's coming. So you save your special, you give it the old special when you play on harder difficulties, and then you give it some. But the first time playing through, you're not going to know about the time crystals, so they can be annoying, and that would be a flaw in the game that I would observe and say this is not something I would like. But I wouldn't say the game is trash because it has time crystals in it. Like, the game is completely fucking ruined because of time crystals. Like, it doesn't make sense to do that. The time crystals are only in, like, small, like, sections of the game. And the boulders are only in small sections of the game. So how does that ruin the entire, like, beat 'em up experience or whatever? And then you've got another example of a putty throwing something at you with literally no example shown in the video, but again, that happens in other games. Other games have enemies with projectiles. You know? Streets of Rage 2 is full of enemies with projectiles. Annoying fuckers like that. Like that guy, like the end boss was in the game that shoots with that handgun or... And there's other ones. There's like... I can't even remember all... There's loads of enemies in Streets of Rage 4 where, like, they throw projectiles. And there's that big, strong guy that comes and does the old martial arts fucking fist. And he comes from halfway across the screen and hits you. There's tons of stuff like that. Like, it takes you by surprise and it's unexpected. So, I don't see how that is a flaw in the game. That sounds like you're finding something to say is bad about this game just so you can find something to bash it. It's like you're nitpicking.
Of design doesn't create fun or challenge. It just creates frustration.
See,
I would have much preferred broader random obstacles
land,
like boulders dropping on my head without
warning.
warning. This kind of design doesn't create fun or challenge.
So over here, and even here, and here, you're safe. You're only... So you got all this space here where you're safe. Like, the boulder lands here, and it lands here, and it's... See where the holes are? It's in line with the holes like that. Right? Watch.
React. These moments felt cheap and happened far too frequently. The same goes for random obstacles like boulders dropping on my...
See that? They land here and they land here. They land in this area where the things are. You're safe here. You can even stand here and you can stand here and you're totally safe. It's not as if the screen is bombarded with boulders all over the place for you to be like, this screen is like disgustingly bad. It's like I say, in better and better and better games that people would say like, oh, this is like one of the greatest beat 'em ups of all time, like the original Double Dragon, has worse stuff than that in it, where like it literally has a wall of death at the end. It's well known. So what's the logic here? You can't nitpick something like that. If the whole game was boulders, I can understand. If every single level had boulders, every single screen had boulders, or something like that, or if there was a whole level with boulders. There isn't. There's this one screen, maybe two. Like I can't remember being another screen. Maybe there's one or two, but there's very few and far between. There's not many boulders. I would expect more pushback on the level with the dragons, or because that's pretty much the whole level is like missiles coming at you from like, and you have to dodge and shit. I honestly, that would have been a better example. I don't understand.
Ahead without warning. This kind of design
There's a
create...
warning. The warning is here. It's patches. And every time you play the game, it's a beat 'em up. You play these games over and over and over again, you get better. You start on easy and you work your way up. It's like, did you not play Mega Battle? Mega Battle you couldn't even play solo because there was no difficulty settings. And the game was impossible to play by yourself, okay? This game lets you play by yourself on easy and normal. And when I say you couldn't play by yourself, you could select to play by yourself in Mega Battle, but you literally could not play it. It was too hard. It was designed for 4 players. This game is designed so that everybody can play. Whether you want to play 1 player or you want to play 6, you can do it on this game. It's huge, man. It's a fantastic game. I have no clue what you're trying to nitpick boulders, man.
Fun or challenge. It just creates frustration. I would have much preferred brawler stages that focus on, you know, brawling. Being able to choose between all the rangers might lead you to wrongly believe that each of them control differently, with different moves and play styles, because, as you know, in the original show, each ranger's personality and combat style was distinct from one another. However, rather egregiously, they seem to be little more than palette swaps of one another, and don't even really take advantage of their unique weapons, which they could even do in the lackluster Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, okay, but you could do all of that in Mega Battle and no one liked that game. Mega Battle, you can use the weapons any time. It has like a special bar and a special button for your weapon, right? And you can use the Power Rangers fucking gun at any time too in that game, right? So this was done in Mega Battle. Again, no one liked that game. And you're listing things that were done in that game, okay? So what sense does any of this make, really, when you think about it? When you're saying, like, well, this is what the game should have. Mega Battle did that, and yet people didn't like it anyway. And now we've got someone saying, this is what needs to be in the game, and it was in Mega Battle. They did that already. This game decides not to give you unique... Like, because basically, here's the problem with Mega Battle, right? Everyone's going to want to play as the Green Ranger, and everyone's going to want to play as the Red Ranger, because those are the best characters. Oh, and the White Ranger, of course, but you can't use the white and the green at the same time in that game. But because they go with the person, which is Tommy Oliver, right? The man behind the mask. So you can't use those two at the same time. That would help. But so basically, the White Ranger, who was DLC, the Red Ranger and the Green Ranger were the best characters in Mega Battle, and the Green Ranger literally did like more damage and stuff like that. It literally, they had stats and they had different weapons and all that sort of stuff, right? That's what you're asking for. It was done in Power Rangers Mega Battle, which again is a flawed game, but credit where credit's due. It's doing the things that he's asking for, okay? So I'm just using that as an example that they actually did that in Mega Battle, right? Okay, this game doesn't do that. This game is like, hey, if you want to play as whatever Ranger, fine. All of them are pretty much the same. They all pretty much do the same damage. Yes, they're all essentially the same. Well, that's a good thing when you're playing a 6-player game like this, because everybody's going to be like, oh, I want to be the fucking Green Ranger. Who the fuck wants to be the Blue Ranger? Right? There's going to be there's going to be arguments, right? Between, it's like, well, you get to play as the fucking man. You get to play as the Green Ranger. And you could be like, well, every character plays the same. It's just a different color. They all have the same abilities, moves, pretty much, different special move, and they have a different down thrust attack or whatever, because they have different weapons. Like Billy's got like a spinning like tornado when he comes down, because he's got the lance. So the Blue Ranger's actually got one of the best moves for that. He's actually got a better move than the Green Ranger and the Red. And then the best character by far in the game is the Pink Ranger, because the Pink Ranger gets to use the flying Zord, the pterodactyl, in the flying missions, well, the Star Fox type missions. So everybody else is on the fucking ground taking damage, and the pterodactyl's just flying around, doesn't take any damage on the ground whatsoever, and can like avoid all sorts of fucking shit. And it's like way fucking better to use. So there's advantages of using different characters in the game. That is there. You can find it, like, it's not massively different, but yeah, they do have different like down thrust abilities. What would you call it? It's like a ground pound or whatever. If it was like Mario or whatever, it's like you press A twice and then you press like down and X, and they do like an attack like that. That's a different attack for each ranger. And then you've got the special moves, which are different for each ranger, but basically the same, but they do like different damage, different sorts of ways and stuff. And the Zords are different, right? The Zords are, but most of the ground Zords are the same, really. I would say they're not a huge difference, but there's a massive difference with the Pink Ranger Zord. So the differences, there are some differences, no doubt. And I would say the Pink Ranger is the best character to play as, if you're going to play all the way through without going back to the menu screen to change into the Pink Ranger Zord. So there you go. Like, there are differences. Now, could there be differences like in Mega Battle? Sure. And sure, they could have it like, Shredder's Revenge, where you got like Mondo Geckos like flying around on a skateboard and just kicks everybody's ass. I mean, yeah, that's fine. But, everybody's going to want to play as Mondo Gecko now because he's the best character. Like, I always want to play as Mondo Gecko because he kicks fucking ass in that game. Like, he is the guy in Shredder's Revenge now. Mondo Gecko. That I want to play as him because he's the best, and so does everybody else. That's what the problem you can create by having differences between characters, because ultimately one of them's got to be the best, right? having all the Rangers be very similar, and that's a good thing, some people would say. So, there you go.
As mentioned earlier, despite the 16-bit game's flaws, the Rangers in their unmorphed forms brought a sense of individuality and distinction. Unfortunately, in this new game...
Who's going to want to play as Billy, though, when he's, like, covering his face and, like... Everyone's going to play as fucking Jason, who's kicking everybody's ass. So some things are, like, they're done for a reason, but the logic behind it isn't there, because I still want to kick ass. I don't want to be covering my face and, like, all that shit.
You can't even play as the Rangers outside of their costumes.
Again, you could in Mega Battle. You could in freaking Power Rangers Mega Battle. And one of the big issues with the Super Nintendo game, the big flaws, is people said it took too long for you to become a Ranger. You spent more time in the game playing as Joe Blogg's Billy there, okay? That was a flaw in the game. And now you want it to go back to where you play as the original guy instead of the Rangers. And it was done in Mega Battle. It's been done in a beat 'em up on the Xbox One, the PS4 generation. Right? In Power Rangers freaking Mega Battle. Anyway.
This ignores a core element of the original show, where the first half of each episode often featured the team fighting enemies before fully unleashing their powers. As a result, in Rita's Rewind, not only is there less character diversity in the gameplay, but the stages also lose the sense of build-up and anticipation that made those earlier battles more engaging. It's crazy how we in many ways have gone backwards, despite the original game not being great anyway. Next,
Understatement of the centuries. I don't see how you've gone backwards, okay? You've gone forwards, okay? You had one player on the Super Nintendo. At least had 2 player on the Mega Drive, okay? So it was already a better game. Now, you got 1 player on the Super Nintendo, and now you had 4 players in Mega Battle, and now you got 6 players in this game. We've progressed forwards. We're now got the only Power Rangers game that has 6 players. How many Power Rangers are there? 6. There's always been 6. Some would say, well, actually, there was originally only 5, and a lot of the series was only 5. Okay, there's only 5. Whatever. But in the original series, if you include the Green Ranger, guess what? There's 6, right? That's the original 6 right there. There they are. How many players? 6. There you go. Perfect. Perfect ratio. Okay? If the Ninja Turtles game, Shredder's Revenge, had been 4 player, everyone would have said that's fine, because how many turtles are there? 4. But they took it to the next level and made it 6, okay? Again, we're doing it with this game. It's the next level, it's 6. My fucking throat's fucked and I don't care, we're carrying on anyway.
To address what's been touted as Rita's Rewind's unique mechanic, the moments where time rewinds during combat. While this concept sounds like it has a lot of potential for fun and creativity.
Okay, there you go. It's something I agree with you on, finally. Yes, that is annoying, but in future playthroughs and multiple playthroughs, you learn where they are, they don't become a problem in later playthroughs.
It ultimately falls flat. All we get are instances where a time crystal appears on the screen and we have to destroy it quickly, otherwise the enemies we've already defeated on that screen will keep resurrecting. This mechanic doesn't add any meaningful depth to the gameplay and feels more like an inconvenience than an innovation. The only real impact of the crystals is that they can slow down the pace, a frustrating addition to a beat 'em up that already feels sluggish. In a genre where fluidity and momentum are key, this mechanic doesn't enhance the experience, it just bogs it down. Despite these complaints, the beat 'em up sections play well enough, and I couldn't help but laugh at the final fight themed train stage, complete with putty patrollers dressed like Andors from that game.
Yes. Cool. It was good.
Developers clearly put effort into delivering nostalgia and fan service, but if only they had shown the same level of care and attention to the gameplay itself.
What do you mean? How is the gameplay bad? You keep playing like, well, it's bad. How? Describe it. Describe to me how it's bad. This is amazing gameplay. Oh, it's not as fast as Shredder's Revenge. Okay. Neither was fucking Streets of Rage. You know what I'm saying? Like, in Streets of Rage fucking 4, you can play as all different types of characters. You play characters from, like, Streets of Rage 2, and all this sort of stuff. And not all of them play as fast as the other ones. There's different... You know what I'm saying? So, what do you mean by this? This game is not as fast as Shredder's Revenge. Therefore, it's a terrible game. But you're listing that Double Dragon game as a good game, even though it's as slow as ass. I mean, really slow. Like that roguelike game, the Double Dragon that you were promoting earlier, is really slow. Slower than this game. I don't know what you're saying. And the gameplay you're putting out here, I don't see you doing many dodge rolls.
For references is appreciated, but it highlights...
Well, that speeds the game up massively because you can, like, roll, and you're not seem to be doing that. You're not using the B button a lot.
How much more satisfying the game could have been if the mechanics were as thoughtfully executed as the callbacks. It's like they had their priorities completely wrong.
Like, what was that there? Like, I don't know whose gameplay this is because you've used multiple sources here.
Satisfying the game could have been if the mechanics were as thoughtfully executed as the callbacks.
Is this really the best clip to use where the Red Ranger, instead of... See, on a beat 'em up, here's the one of my complaint with Shredder's Revenge, okay? You got your boss here, right? Which is Goldar, classic character. What you tend to do is you either move to the side here or move to the side here and try and come at them from the sides. Because if you go head on, they normally have an attack that goes forward. So you always have to try and come from the back, the sides. Now in Shredder's Revenge, it doesn't really matter what you do. You still need to always get hit by doing that. They're too smart for you. So it ends up being just like a special spam on Shredder's Revenge. And that kind of lets the game down, in my opinion. I think the boss battles in this game are much cleaner and you can actually fight them without special moves, okay? So why does it make... So the logical thing is here is why would he jump and kick him here when you just move to the left and try and come up to the sides of him? That's what you do in like classic beat-em-ups. That's how you play, you know, the old Double Dragons, that, you know, because, like, let's say the end boss on Double Dragon 1, he's got a big fucking machine gun. Same with Final Fight, actually, if you played that game. There's a big fucking machine gun, so you have to keep out of the line of fire and basically try and attack from the sides. That's a basic concept, and it's been used in multiple beat-em-ups over the years, right? That's how this game works. It feels like a classic beat-em-up. Plays brilliantly. Now, Shredder's Revenge doesn't do that. I feel like some bosses it works on, but like I think Bebop on the second level kind of works on him, but there's a lot of bosses where it does not work, right? So that's my opinion, that this has the better boss combat, right? So why would you do this?
It's like they had their priority.
Like, you can't blame the game for not knowing how to play it. I don't know whose gameplay it was because he's used for multiple people, so I don't know, but you can't blame the game for that.
He's completely wrong. As I mentioned earlier, despite its flaws, the beat-em-up segments are actually this game's strongest aspect. The real issue lie in everything else, and unfortunately those parts make up a significant portion of the gameplay. Take for example the classic moment when Rita makes her monster grow, prompting the Rangers to summon their Zords. This is where things really go off the rails. Or on rails, I guess, considering the game turns into a third-person rail shooter. Essentially, these sections feature the same graphical style and action as Sega's Space Harrier from 1985. Unfortunately, they lack the fun and charm that made Space Harrier a classic. Where Space Harrier had exhilarating speed, responsive controls and imaginative enemies that kept the experience engaging, Rita's Rewind falls short. The control...
Okay, so you're comparing a section in this game to Space Harrier, which, like you say, is a dedicated game for this type of gameplay. This is like a Battletoads, where that's giving you a section that's somewhat different. It may not be as good as Space Harrier. I've never played that game. Probably should check it out. But clearly, this is doing a decent enough job to where you're enjoying the game. Like, I don't understand how, like, well, this is horrendous. This shouldn't even be in the game. And you said that already, that you don't want these sections in the game. But now you're saying that they should be as good as Space Harrier. It's like, if you don't want them in the game, it doesn't matter how good they are, you're still not going to like them because you were not expecting them to be there. And you don't want them to be there. So it doesn't matter how good they are, you're always going to have a problem with them. So now you're saying, well, if they were as good as Space Harrier, then I would want them. But clearly you won't want them anyway because you just don't want them in the game. You just want the game to be a straight-up beat-em-up. And that's fine, and that's an opinion, but I don't understand why that makes the game fucking shit for everybody else.
Wars feel slow, the environments are uninspired, and the combat lacks the satisfying feedback needed to keep you invested. Instead of delivering the same sense of thrill and wonder, these segments feel like a PAL imitation, and much more restrictive for that matter, considering that in Space Harrier we could fly, yet most of our Zords are ground.
Yes. Most of them are grounded, but there's one that isn't, and you're playing by yourself, so what's the issue?
Based. I've played Space Harrier extensively and even made multiple in-depth videos about it on this channel, so it's clear I have a real love for this style of gameplay.
Right. So you're expecting it to be Space Harrier, and it's not Space Harrier. I'm sorry to tell you that it's not Space Harrier, okay? But did you really expect it to be as good as Space Harrier? I didn't expect it to be as good as Star Fox. I just wasn't. So, expectation, man. Like, why, like, 1 minute you don't want it in the game, and now you wish it was as good as Space Harrier. Either way, they can't win.
Being Rita's rewind, it just feels frustrating, especially when random platform elements are thrown into the mix. These sections often lead to instant death because there's no way to anticipate what's coming. This is exactly what I meant when I said parts of this game feel stuck in the past.
Yes, but guess what? If you're playing with multiple people, when you die, as long as other people have got lives, the level carries on. You're playing by yourself, so you suffer the penalty as though everybody on the screen wiped at the same time. Because the game is not just designed for one player, it's designed for multiple players. So it's designed by, if everybody wipes, then the game goes back to checkpoint. You're playing by yourself, so therefore the game goes back to checkpoint, so you have to fucking think outside the box here and do what I did, and just sign in another fucking controller and play with 2 controllers or more to get over the hurdle of the game thinking, hey, all the players have wiped. Well, yeah, all the players have wiped because there's only one player in the game. But I didn't have any problems beating this game on easy without signing in controllers. It was fine. I just played as the fucking Pink Ranger and I just nailed it. So I don't see the issue. Oh, there's instant death here. Yeah, but does it really matter if you lose a life falling off the level? Surely you should. But to incentivize you to not fall off and to do the platforming. And there's not that many sections like that in the game. I can think of one in particular, probably on the Dragon's Lair level, where you go through the tunnel and you have to, like, jump around on some, like, platforms and stuff. And, yeah, you can fall off, like, bridges and things like that. But there's nothing that challenging or that you can't overcome. So I don't know what he's talking about there. You know what I mean? Like, if he's having a real bad experience with this, I mean, it's his opinion, but I just think he's blowing it completely out of proportion here. Like, he just wants the game to be a beat-em-up, only a beat-em-up, and therefore he's got to throw everything under the fucking bus because he just doesn't like it. I mean, that's his opinion, but he's trying to, like, oh, it's not Space Harrier. I didn't expect it to be, and I didn't dream of that.
But not in a good way. Instead of paying homage to a classic, it recycles outdated mechanics that feel more irritating than enjoyable. Similarly to these stages, we also get levels inspired by Hang On, where the Rangers ride motorbikes.
Cool.
It seems like whoever designed this game had a real appreciation for Yu Suzuki, but honestly, who doesn't? That said, despite the different visuals, these sections play almost identical to the Zord stages, but for whatever reason, the devs wanted to get the bikes in. Hell, what am I saying? We all know why they wanted to get the bikes in. It was clearly more nostalgia baiting. Speaking of the bikes, who else?
Nostalgia bait. It's nostalgia bait to put Power Rangers bikes in a Power Rangers game. So you're saying you don't want Power Rangers bikes in the Power Rangers game? You're saying you don't want Zord battles? You're saying you don't want the Zords in at all? You just want to beat them up. Okay? That's what you're saying. Then play the fucking Super Nintendo one, because that's exactly what you got. No Zord battles of any kind. And yet you'll say that game's better. How? How would you like them to incorporate the Zord battles? Now, the only other way of doing it to satisfy you would be to do it the way they did on the Mega Drive. But it sounds like you never played that game because you don't mention it once whatsoever. So that might be the game for you. That might be the perfect game for you. The Mega Drive one with the Power Rangers movie, play as the White Ranger, the Red Ranger, whatever, and then you could, like, fight with the Megazord and the Tiger Zord and all that shit. It's in the game. You could play a beat 'em up level with the Zords. It's like Zord versus freaking, what is it, like Ivan Ooze's freaking, you know, Scorpion or whatever. There's all sorts of stuff in that game. I can't remember the exact bosses, but it's like that. You can play a beat 'em up Zord battle. Now, if that's what you want, fine, but that's been done. It was done on the Mega Drive, and you never even played that one because you not mentioned it. But how would you like them to incorporate it then? Because the only other way to do it would be to do the exact same thing as what I just said and just do another beat 'em up segment. Well, isn't it more exciting and more interesting, especially given the fact that this is a 6-player game? Everybody has control of their Zord. Everybody has their own individual Zord, and it's all working towards the same goal of getting down the highway with the bikes or getting to the end boss so then we can form the Megazord and kick the guy's ass. Ain't that the way it should be? Like, I don't understand. Like, what this is like perfectly done for a Power Rangers game. How would you have, like, what would you have suggested? How would you have, like, I know I'm going to play the video tomorrow, maybe you suggest this. How would you have gone about it? Because to me, this is the perfect way of doing that. Like, they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it.
As a child, hated these things. Why would any of us give a crap about motorbikes?
So you hate the bikes from when you were a kid. Okay. So you don't like the bikes from when you were a kid. Fine. Oh, shit, man. But some people did like the bikes. I like the bikes. Game wasn't made just for you. Okay, I get it.
In a show where they own mechanical dinosaurs that combine to form a giant fighting robot. It was dull and pointless in comparison. Now let's talk about the game's bosses. Some of these encounters take place during the beat 'em up stages, and for the most part they offer decent fights. Then there are the
Why is it a bad game?
bosses in the Space Harrier sections, which are a bit hit or miss. But when it comes to the Megazord battles, well, that is where things really hit the fan. These battles play somewhat like Punch-Out, but with the added ability to move forward and backwards. I can't even begin to express how frustrating these segments became. At times,
How are they frustrating? Are you saying you died? I've never died on this. Are you saying what?
I was so enraged I found myself yelling at the screen, on the verge of smashing my controller like a tantrum-throwing child. The sense of being punished by the game's design made these moments feel like less of a challenge and more like pure aggravation. Speaking of these sections, while there are some similarities to Punch-Out, they actually resemble the giant robot battles from the Ganbei Goemon series more closely. Ganbei Goemon 2 is one of the greatest action platformers available for the Super Famicom, but the robot bosses mix up gameplay.
Yeah, I got that game. That was one of the games I got in my box that I didn't know what it was.
Completely. The giant fighting robot scenes are a playful and exaggerated extension of the series' whimsical satirical nature. These sequences serve as a clear parody of Japanese pop culture, particularly the mecha genre and Super Sentai tropes. You know, the series that footage was lifted from to create Power Rangers in the first place. These sequences introduced fighting mechanics that contrasted with the usual side-scrolling action and exploration. By adding these segments, the developers kept the gameplay fresh and unpredictable, reinforcing the series' reputation for creative and surprising design choices. But in my opinion at least, they still served as often frustrating divergences from the sort of gameplay I was trying to play. These battles, in my opinion, feel similar, but offer their own irritants. The goal here is straightforward: duck, dodge and seize opportunities to pummel the monsters, while you charge your power sword for the final blow. Correct. But pulling it off is much harder than it sounds.
It's fucking easy. What the hell I did not die on this once. Okay, this guy, if this guy is like a master at Space Harrier, spent years on it, right, or whatever, but he can't play this game. This fucking bit here, like where you fight the end boss, is the easiest part of the game. Like, I'm not even joking here. I beat every single one of them first try, no checkpoints, no lie. Okay, I got all the shit recorded on my fucking playthrough, my easy playthrough. It's on my over channel, right? Go check it out if you don't believe me. I beat all of them first time. So they're not hard. If they were hard and frustrating, I would have found that out myself, right? Okay, is he playing on fucking hard? But I did these on hard mode without dying. But then again, if you add more players, then you can take infinite hits. So I never fucking found that out, did I? So maybe he was trying it on hard mode or on normal mode or whatever, and maybe it got frustrating. But that looks there. If we look at this screenshot, this is the same number of sections I had when I was playing on easy, and this is the same health bar I had on easy. So assuming the gameplay is very similar between easy and normal, or maybe this goes up with how many ranges you have. Maybe this goes up to like 6 when you have more ranges in the game, more players. So there's a lot of question marks here because I don't know all the answers to that specific thing because I just breeze through them. But I don't see how this is like a frustrating, nightmarish thing to have to do. And there's literally only like 3 of them in the game. So I don't understand. Like, you fight the Goldar, the guy with the eyeballs, and Dragonzord. That's it. There's 3 of them in the game, and then I literally don't understand how they're not hard to do. Solo, co-op, they're not difficult. So if I don't see how you could possibly be frustrated by that, because they're not hard segments to complete, like, at all. I think it's harder to lose at it than it is to win at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, most if you got to this section and then you died and you went all the way back to the beginning of the level and it was a pain in the ass, fair enough. I would be the first person that would say, hey, that's fucking bullshit. These sections should be removed. But you don't even have to hit the final blow with the power sword when you have multiple accounts, because I did the game with multiple accounts so I could do the harder difficulties. I had more lives. And I couldn't do the final blow with the power sword because you have to tap the button to put the power up. And even though I didn't do that because I had like 6 controllers plugged in or whatever at one point, I still beat the level. So it gave it to me. It didn't even require me to hit him with the sword. So how could they make it easier? Like, there's nothing difficult or challenging about these sections in the game. And I don't believe that's an opinion. I just believe that's a fact. Honestly.
While it feels like you have to land a million hits to finally finish off an opponent, the monster only needs...
No. You have to deal 3 bars of damage to boost the sword.
...to hit you 3 times to reset part of your power bar, forcing you to repeat parts of a challenge all over again. What made this even worse for me was for on-screen...
So you're failing at the Zord parts. And if you signed in another controller, even just one controller into player 2 and tried it, these power bars aren't there. As soon as it goes into like 2 player or more, these bars disappear. You have infinite life, okay? So if that's really a problem for you and you're watching this video, there's an out for anybody. Just literally sign in another controller on the section before, and when you get to this section, you will have 2 players, 2 Power Ranger heads, and you just do it with the 2 controllers, and that's it. So I despair because there's nothing. I did those sections on easy, no problem. So I don't get it. Like, was he playing on hard? He's not saying what difficulty he's on. I don't understand how you could have a problem with that. I don't. Honestly, it was one of the easiest parts of the game, if not the. It is the easiest part of the game by far. I don't even think you can fail with multiple people. So it's literally impossible to fail that. I don't understand.
Instructions popping up during gameplay. Trying to read directions while actively fighting was incredibly disorientating.
That's one level. It's the first one. It's telling you how to play it for the first one as a tutorial, because this game has no fucking instruction manual because it's digital only. Shock horror. So they put in a tutorial to tell you what to do if you're struggling. And so what do you mean you've got to read it while you're doing it? Well, when else are they supposed to give you a tutorial? They give you the tutorial on the first battle. There's none of that shows up on the second battle or the third one because you already learned it in the first one. So how can you complain about them giving you a tutorial? What would the complaint be if the fucking messages weren't coming up? Well, they didn't tell me how to play it. There was no tutorial. You can't win with these people, man. You can't win with these guys. I'm telling you. What did you want? How would they have done it differently? Oh, I know they would have given you a physical game and they would have given you a manual with it. Okay, well then, But they didn't do that. They went down this road. Okay. Is that really that bad? Goldar literally just stands there. Like, if you, it tells you like, oh, you need to press B to dodge. I didn't press B to dodge on any of these motherfuckers. As soon as it told me I could punch him in the face, I went straight to punching him in the face again, right? I might have dodged on like the first time I played, but as soon as I get to like hard difficulty or whatever, I'm not fucking dodging him. I'm punching him in the face while he's trying to teach me how to fucking play the game. That literally gives you that one. He literally plays it for you. You just... And then the other two are not difficult either. Guy's not difficult, and neither is the Dragon's Lord. They're not difficult fights. I have no clue what you're talking about. And I don't see why them telling you how to play the game on the first one to help you is a problem.
Directions while actively fighting was incredibly disorientating, making it hard to absorb anything useful. To top it off, every time you get hit, there's a ridiculously over-the-top explosion that not only breaks your focus, but often leads to getting you hit multiple times in quick succession. These poor design choices pile up quickly, turning what should be an exciting showdown into an exercise in pure frustration. It's honestly...
I don't get it. Like, it's not hard. Like, I hadn't even seen this part of the video, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this section is not... These battles are not hard. I'm sorry. Like, what are you talking about? Do people really think this is hard? Like, I'm mind's blown. Like, I beat fucking Worms Armageddon the other day. Like, that was hard. Like, what? This is not hard. There's nothing hard about it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, do people really think this is hard? Am I wrong? Am I just a fucking god at games? Am I just like the messiah of fucking Power Rangers that I can fucking do this shit? Does everybody else think it's impossible? Is it me or is it this guy? I've got a feeling it's this guy because I can't possibly be that good at this game because I have never played this game before and because it's brand new till the other day. So I haven't had years and years to fucking get good at it. I just played it like everybody else did out of the fucking gate. And apparently I owned everybody. I destroyed the fucking motherfuckers, and I beat the game on like hard and fucking very hard, and yet nobody else can seem to do that because I'm just that fucking good. Or this guy's full of shit. I've got a suspicion that he's full of shit because how is he trying to tell me that this is the hardest part of the game? This is the easiest part of the game by far.
Difficult to express how angry these parts of the game made me. Speaking of bizarre design choices, I want to mention something I encountered during the final boss with Rita. There's a section where you have to volley energy balls back and forth with her.
Okay, now, this I agree with. This is annoying because you have to hit it back like 3 times, and when the third one comes, if you mistime it, you have to start back to the first one again, and that is annoying because it seems like you keep mistiming it or it doesn't let you hit it. That is annoying, okay? There you go. There's a criticism that makes sense. All right? But that's like 1% of the game here.
Much like the fight against Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time.
Correct.
However, just like many other mechanics in this game, it doesn't seem to function as well as intended. What makes this even more amusing is the appearance of a clickbait-style arrow on the screen, prompting you to hit the energy ball. It's as if the developers knew the section wasn't designed well enough for players to figure it out intuitively. It honestly feels like this arrow was tacked on during playtesting as a last-minute fix, which only highlights how poorly thought out the mechanic really is. The hitbox on this mechanic is absolutely ridiculous. I found it linear...
You're not doing it right, are you? You're not doing it right. You're trying to hit it from there to there to there, but after you hit it a couple of times, it gets faster, so that's not enough time for you to react. You need to be stood all the way back over here so that when it goes... Because you'll hit it and it'll go ping, back even faster, and then go again, ping, go even faster. And it goes like that mouse point. And then you have to hit it the third time, bang, and then it goes, okay? You trying to hit it here is like a death sentence. You're making it harder on yourself by not giving yourself time to react. This is like the equivalent would be in real life if you're like one of those drivers that sits right up people's arseholes on the fucking road, and then you wonder why you end up crashing into the back of somebody. It's because you were a dumbass and were up the other car's arse in the first place. If you left space, when that car breaks, you're not going to crash into them, okay? That's the whole fuck. And that's the premise here. Like, if you leave space here, you're going to have more time to react. So this is just playing the game badly. I'm sorry. That's not my opinion. Like, you give yourself time to react. You stand over here, okay? That's what you do. Am I wrong?
Using is the appearance of a clickbait-style arrow on the screen, prompting you to hit the energy ball. It's as if the developer's maneuver section wasn't designed well enough for players to figure it out intuitively. It honestly feels like this arrow was tacked on during playtesting as a last-minute fix, which only highlights how poorly thought out the mechanic really is. The hitbox on this mechanic is absolutely ridiculous. I found it nearly impossible to punch the energy ball head-on. It only worked if I executed a flying kick, or bizarrely turned my back to it before.
Mate, what do you mean? You only hit it with a flying kick. Like, I got gameplay of me hitting it with my fist. Like, is the Steam version broken? Like, what are you talking about? You're standing too close. That's the problem. You're standing here. You need to be standing over here.
That won't stop me.
And don't say like, oh, well, could you figure that out? I figured it out. Am I the brain of fucking Britain here? Am I a fucking genius? Maybe I am, I don't know. But I figured it fucking out, so I don't understand. I even said when I was playing this game, I thought this was stupid because if you're playing with multiple people, then it's like a 1-versus-1 fight with someone's got to punch the ball over and over, you know what I'm saying? So you're going to have, what, a queue of people here queued up to hit the ball? I don't think it's a good fight, end boss fight for a 6-player game. I don't, right? I even said that. But that takes nothing away from the rest of the game. It's like, what? This one battle wasn't great. So what? That doesn't destroy the entire fucking game. And you're trying to say, like, you have to jump kick and all this. That's not the case. You can hit it with your fist. But normally the third hit comes in super fast. So the first hit you'll hit most of the time, and then the second one, and then the third one just goes wham. And then when that happens, that's when you end up fucking up, okay? And I just think the hitbox is a bit shit on that fucking thing. And it could do with a tweak and an update, and that would fix it, right? And that's it. But it doesn't mean the whole game is ruined because of this one boss. Again, this is like that 343 fanboy mentality where they say, oh, well, Reach was shit because it had armor lock. And, oh, Reach was shit because it had jetpack. And then I'm like, yeah, well, Halo 3 was shit then because it had power drainers and regen fields. And it had flares, because I didn't like any of those either. But no one says that shit about Halo 3. They all throw Reach under the bus. And this is what he's doing. He's throwing the game under the bus over, like, minuscule things, boulders that hit him. And come on now. It's like the whole game isn't boulders and the whole game isn't Rita's fucking energy ball, is it? That's like 1% of the game.
Or punching. It's such a strange and clunky design choice. Other things I would have liked to see in this game include the ability to play as the Green Ranger before beating the game. As mentioned, he was the character everyone was
Well, they could have put him as DLC, bro. Like, Mega Battle put White Ranger as DLC. Is that what you want? Like, they gave you all the characters up front. You gotta respect that, man. In this day and age, this is fucking 2024. Okay? They gave you a full fucking game. They gave you the full 6 Rangers. If the white one comes in DLC later, fine. I accept it, but that's not the point here. The point is they gave you all the fucking original Rangers up front. They gave you 6. Now, here's a flaw. That means you can't play 6-player until you beat the game once. So if you literally wanted to play 6-player out of the gate, you wouldn't be able to. You could only play 5. So yeah, there's flaws here and there, but it doesn't take 2 minutes to freaking beat the game realistically, does it? Because it's a fucking beat 'em up, and it's not a super long one. So you just stick it on easy and you fucking blast through it and have a blast. And then when your friends come over, you've got 6 players. But That's my opinion. But hey, what, you're going to be like, oh, well, I have to beat the game once to play the Green Ranger? What a shitty game. It's like, okay, well, you have to beat the game once in Shredder's Revenge to play fucking Casey Jones. Is that game shit now? Is the game shit? Is Shredder's Revenge shit because they have to spend extra money to play as Karai, the fucking rabbit, and freaking Mondo Gecko, Mondo Gecko's like the best fucking character in the game? Or what about Mona Lisa and shit? Okay, so all that shit's DLC locked behind a paywall. But Shredder's Revenge is fucking mint. It's one of, you said it's amazing. Okay, well, there you go. You still have to unlock Casey Jones by playing the game, okay? I would have liked it if Casey Jones was there from the beginning. Well, he wasn't, was he? He was unlockable. That's what they chose to do. Here's what they chose to do here is make the Green Ranger unlockable, which makes sense because the plot of Power Rangers is, in every game, is that the Green Ranger is evil, and then they beat him in, you know, the fucking season, what was saying, that the series, like, they beat him, and then he becomes a good guy or whatever. So that's literally the plot. So after you beat him, he becomes a playable character. It makes perfect sense to me. I don't really see a problem with this. And the fact that you said all the fucking characters are the same anyway, what's the difference? Like, like they're all, like you say, like, oh, they all play the same. Well, what's the problem then? What's the big issue here? There isn't one. You're making an issue out of nothing. Like I just said, this has been done in other games. In freaking Streets of Rage 4, there's a shitload of characters that you can unlock by playing the game. Fact or fiction, right? You can't play as freaking Dr. fucking Zan or whatever the fuck, or Roo the Kangaroo out of the box, can you? You have to beat the game. You have to unlock those characters. This is pretty common, even in the greats. So what are you talking about here? The game sucks because the Green Ranger isn't fucking playable from the beginning. Well, he's unlocked. He's for free, and you only have to beat the game. They're not asking you to do anything like super hard to unlock him.
Eager to play as, especially since he wasn't available in the original Super Nintendo version. While it's nice that he's included,
Why do you keep going back to that? Like, no one even cares about that game. Like, I'm serious. Like, why'd you keep that? Wow, in the Super Nintendo version. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Like, even compare this game to the Super Nintendo version is an insult to this game. This game is far above it. Like, I'm just throwing it out there. It's like way above it. Way above it.
here it feels like a missed opportunity not to have him more fully integrated into co-op gameplay. On top of that, the lack of online co-op is incredibly disappointing.
Yes.
In a genre where
Yes. Okay. I agree with you again. Yes. There should be online co-op. There isn't. There should be. But that doesn't mean River City Girls with 2-player online co-op is better. I'd rather have 6-player offline than 2-player online. That's my opinion. I wouldn't want a Power Rangers game to come out with 2-player online co-op and no option for more than fucking 2 players. Like, I would not want that. I probably wouldn't have even bought the game. I'll be honest with you. That would have turned me off. I would not have bought this game, even though I found out from playing it that it's fucking amazing. So, but like, if this game had been like 2-player, that would have been a turn off. Like, I want to, like, I could just play the Mega Drive one at that point, right? That already did that shit. The Super Nintendo one couldn't handle that, but the fucking Mega Drive one could, all right? So you play that one. Mega Battle had 4 players, so then that would be a downgrade. Okay, I would have wanted at least 4 players in this game, and we got 6. We got what we always wanted, a 6-player Power Rangers game. There are 6 Power Rangers, and you can play with all your friends, one TV. I can't fault the game for that. But yes, I do agree that online would be nice. And, Streets of Rage 4 had 4-player offline, 2-player online. Something like that would have been great, okay? Maybe in future patches they may decide to put in an online. That would be a cool idea. I don't know if that's even a possibility or a thing. But, hey, if not, I'm satisfied. But at the end of the day, you're right in the sense that it should have an online, ideally, but it doesn't. But to me, that isn't a huge flaw in the game. But yeah, online would be nice, and online is missing. You are correct.
Multiplayer action is a major selling point. The absence of online functionality is baffling. Playing Power Rangers with friends should be a seamless experience, especially in 2024. Limiting it to local play only makes the game feel outdated. These omissions make it feel like the developers didn't fully consider what modern players actually want, ultimately holding the game back from being the nostalgic hit it could have been.
Yes, but you're trying to say River City Girls is better than this, and that Double Dragon game. I don't get it. Like, is that what you want? Are you trying to say that you want a 2-player Power Rangers game that's online versus a 6-player Power Rangers game that's not online? I know which one I prefer. It's the one we got, right? I want the 6-player offline. I want to play that shit in my house with my friends. Like, I want to play that. Like, even if they never turn up and that never happens, at least I have the option to do that if they ever do turn up, all right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. Like, I don't give a rat's ass about online compared to 6-player offline. If for a Power Rangers game, if you're talking about some other game like, say, Streets of Rage, yeah, Streets of Rage, I prefer 2-player online because Streets of Rage has historically always been 2 players, and that's what I'm used to, and that's what I'm comfortable with. But it's not like a series where, oh, we've got 6 historic characters that we like. It's like Ninja Turtles needs to be at least 4-player. You know what I'm saying? Like, the X-Men game is like 6-player. Like, that's cool because there's a ton of X-Men characters. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the Simpsons arcade. There's 4 players, okay? Well, there's 5 main Simpsons characters if you include the baby, and the baby is with the mother. So, 4-player Simpsons with the 4 main Simpsons makes sense. You see, this is what I'm saying. Like, these are why these games are so iconic, because and this game has achieved that because it has achieved a 6-player Power Rangers game, and that's what we've always wanted. You can't say that that's a flaw of the game. Okay, if the option was there to have online and 6 players, great. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying like, oh, you're wrong. All right, I'm saying yes. Okay, online would be helpful. Shredder's Revenge was able to do that. Okay. This is a smaller dev team. They haven't maybe not got the resources and all that sort of shit. We don't know the ins and outs of the development of the game and all that sort of shit. However, I'm glad that they prioritized 6-player offline. So I got to go with them on that. Like, if there's no online, there's no online. Okay, don't worry about it. I'll get over it. Okay, like, this game hasn't sold for shit anyway, so the chances of you even having someone on your friends list that even bought it would be like a miracle anyway. Maybe due to negative reviews like this, everybody ripping the game a new arsehole for some reason, even though I feel like it's one of the greatest fucking beat 'em ups I've ever played. Like, it's certainly one of the best 6-player beat 'em ups I've ever played, because there's not many of those. Okay, so it's up there with like X-Men Arcade, Shredder's Revenge, and then I'm going to have to try and really think, because there isn't that many of them. If we said 4-player beat 'em ups, Simpson, that was the Bucky O'Hare game 4-player. I never played that one, the Bucky O'Hare arcade. I can't remember if that's 4-player or 6-player. That's apparently really good. I need to play that one. But like Ninja Turtles, that's like an iconic, like the original, the arcade Ninja Turtles. You have Turtles in Time, that's iconic arcade game. You got the Simpsons 4-player, that's huge. You got the X-Men, which is a 4-player or a 6-player. And there's a load of 6-player. There's some 6-player games on that Capcom collection, but I can't remember what they're called. But I have to go back and look. But the big ones, right? This is up there with the greats. I cannot deny the greatness of this game. You have to play it for yourself. This is a great game, but it's terrible because it doesn't have online. No, yeah, it's a feature that will be great, but it's not a deal breaker on any circumstances. Because even if you did have online here, and then you would have to have matchmaking, they would have to incorporate that, because literally no one owns this game, and then you probably couldn't find the game anyway, because that's what happens even in Shredder's Revenge now. You can't find people to play games with. So does it really matter? Like, I'd rather have the 6 players, like myself, always, all day and night in a Power Rangers game. This, I don't even need another Power Rangers game after this. Like, if this game fails, and this, I don't need another one. Like, this is perfect. This is the perfect Power Rangers game. I'm not joking here, right? I might not be the best at fucking reviews. I do my best. I try, you know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you now, this is a fucking, like, it's not a flawless game. No game is flawless, but this is top tier. This really is. I don't see how you can argue that it's not top tier. Given the situation we've come from with, like I say, that so many bad or average Power Rangers games, this one blows most of them, if not all of them, out of the water. It's just that good. Yet we're gonna go down and nitpick. It's just mad to me.
Looking back on my experience, I wouldn't say this game delivers 90s nostalgia so much, as it serves as a harsh reminder of just how janky certain aspects of 90s gaming could be. Instead of evoking the warm, fuzzy memories of classic titles, it highlights the frustrating...
Why is he so hung up on the SNES? Listen, man, that game is trash. You had it when you were a kid, and we all had games when we were kids, and we played them when we were kids, and we thought they were better than they were, alright? We all had that, okay? I'm here to tell you, man, I played that game as an adult, and it's not a good game. Sorry to tell you this. It's not good. Not even close. Why do you keep bringing it up? Like, that doesn't help your case at all. Like, it really doesn't help your case.
Design flaws we often forget came with them. In the end, this really is a retro rewind, just not in the way anyone would hope for. Instead of capturing the charm and excitement of our past, it dredges up bad mechanics, poor design choices, and sheer frustration.
What bad mechanics, though? What bad mechanics? It's a beat-em-up. So what are the bad mechanics? Right, let's look at some of the great beat-em-ups for a second, okay? Okay, like, all those games had flaws themselves. Let's take Power Rangers, for example, right now, what we've got up on the screen. When you hit an enemy, it will hit. If this is your TV screen here, it will hit that and bounce off, okay? The sides of the TV are actually part of the game, right? You know what happens in shitloads of beat-em-ups? Even in some of the newer ones that we've been talking about. I'm not going to list them off. The enemies go off screen, okay? You hit them, they go off screen, you have to wait for them to walk back on, okay? You hit them off screen, they walk back on. Off screen, walk back on, all right? And in like Final Fight, Streets of Rage or whatever, you can stand on the edge of the screen, and if it's like a regular enemy, you just end up punching off the screen, like, because the screen is clear, and then you've got enemies off the screen here, and you want to get on with fucking the next part. You know, if you let them back on the screen, well, that's just going to give them, you know, more of a chance of actually hitting you, and you don't want to lose life. So what happens is you end up standing on the edge of the screen, and you kick out off the screen. Now, that's on a lot of beat-em-ups, right? Some people would say that's a flaw, okay? Some people would say that shouldn't happen. You say your enemies should be within frame at all times. This game does that. This game does that, right? This game does that. It literally, the sides of the screen, when after you move, become a barrier. You kick an enemy, they will hit the side of the screen and either fall down or bounce back or whatever, right? That's a good mechanic because it stops enemies from being outside the boundaries here. And then you don't have to have health bars for the enemies because you don't need to know, hey, where's this fucking guy gone? Is he actually dead after he goes off the screen? And there's some beat-em-ups where they go off the screen, they don't have health bars, and you can't tell if they're still alive or not. Right, okay. That sucks, okay? This game doesn't have health bars, but it has the sense so you don't kick people off the screen like, I don't know if they're dead or not. Right. They stay on the motherfucking screen. This game is so good. Like, if I sat down and analyzed it and really thought about it, I'm sure I could find all the ways why it's fucking amazing. Just the way he's nitpicking all the reasons why he says it's shit. Why is he not discussing this? This is a huge thing. So you're telling me that, this game has flawed mechanics. Okay, how is this a flawed mechanic? You hit somebody and they hit against the screen and they fall back in, which means All the fucking enemies are always on the screen, and you never have the bullshit where enemies are off the screen, okay? To me, that's a huge fucking flaw in many beat 'em ups, and I've played most of them, and I'm a big fan of beat 'em ups, but I have to acknowledge that that has always been a flaw. Okay, that's always been a flaw, and it's just something you deal with because the game is probably awesome, and it's just like a minor thing that you don't even think about, right? So you're playing like Final Fight, Streets of Rage, whatever, and there's some enemies off the screen, and you're punching out to kill the enemies off the screen. Okay, you don't go, oh, the game's shit for that. You know, you just get on with it. That's just it's part and parcel of the game. But this game actually actively does not have that flaw. Like it's like, so it's actually like better than, like, on that basis, on that small thing there, it's doing better than some of the greatest beat 'em ups of all time. You don't understand that, right? Some of the greatest beat 'em ups of all time have this flaw. I'm considering it a flaw, not a major flaw, but it is a flaw, and this game corrects it. This game says no, the enemies stay in the fucking frame at all times. This game is fucking amazing, man. Like, this game does so much that you're not even talking about. Like, you could easily sit there and make that into a flaw if you wanted to and say, oh no, I prefer it when enemies do get kicked off the screen, but I don't. And I think that is great. That is a brilliant, like, Ace's top mechanic right there, as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, we're going to move on, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, this game is so off the charts. And it's like, if you're going to say, like, oh, well, this game sucks because of boulders, and it's like, I'm sure you could find boulders in some of these other great games. Just no one remembers that part of the game because there's not a particularly fun part of the game. Okay, moving on.
Frustration that we'd all like to leave behind. I wanted to love this game, I really did, but I think I'll stick with the Super Nintendo original. For all
See, that's what makes this the worst review of all time, because you're trying to tell me that the Super Nintendo game is better. That's impossible. Like, how could you have that opinion? Like, it's an opinion. I get it. No opinion can be wrong and all that bullshit. But I'm going to tell you right now that that is a pretty dumb fucking opinion to have, isn't it? I mean, even on that basis, right? Most people, correct me if I'm wrong, think that the Mega Drive version, the Genesis version, is the better of the two that came out for Power Rangers movie games. The Super Nintendo game doesn't even follow the movie, has nothing to do with the movie. The only thing it has in the movie is freaking Ivan Ooze. That's it. That's the only thing it has from the movie, as far as I'm concerned. The Mega Drive one actually follows the movie storyline pretty well, and has extra stuff where you like play as the Tiger Zord and all that shit, as well as the movie story. They do like a flashback sequence. So I'm like, how is this? How are you? I don't believe it, man. Like, I don't believe it, man. How are you going to sit there and say that the fucking Super Nintendo, you're going to stick with the Super Nintendo one, the game that is a one-player game? Is that the flaw? Like, do you want a single-player Power Rangers game? Is that what you were looking for here? Because this is not a single-player Power Rangers game. It is a co-op, 6-player beat-em-up. That's what we got. We got a co-op 6-player beat-em-up. Why are you on this fucking mission to try and prove that the Super Nintendo game, which is already arguably, and most people would agree, is worse than the Mega Drive one? You don't seem to have played the Mega Drive one. Then there was Power Rangers Mega Battle. I would even argue that Power Rangers Mega Battle is better. I could even see, like, make arguments for why that one is better than the Mega Drive, because it has 4 players and all this sort of stuff. But the Mega Drive one's a better game to play if you're playing by yourself. That's because the Mega Battle is just like unplayable if you play by yourself. It is a co-op game, and you need 4 fucking players, or at least 2 players to even like beat some of the bosses, right? But this game you can play by yourself and have a good time. So, and it has multiple difficulties and different challenge levels and all sorts of stuff, and I can't fault this game. It's like a 9 out of 10, a 10 out of 10 in my view. Like, 9 out of 10. Okay, not a 10. 9 out of 10. All right, I give it 9 out of 10. Easily. Now, because, like I say, it's not online. There's a couple of bits and pieces. Like, the final boss, okay, could it be better? The mechanics of it, yeah, all that shit. But it's not like this, oh, well, the Super Nintendo game is better. What? Are you for real? The Super Nintendo game? And River City Girls 2? And this shitty Double Dragon game? And no, man, no. I'm not taking, no. You're taking the piss. It's got to be a troll video, man. This can't be real. Like, it can't be. Like, I got nothing against you personally, man, but that makes absolutely no sense. Like, I don't care if you don't like the game, fine, and you've got your opinion, fine, but the why say the Super Nintendo game is better? That throws me completely. Like, even if you didn't like this game, you're just like, hey, this is I played all the Power Rangers games and they all suck and this one's no different. Okay, fair enough. Your opinion, no problem. But to actually say like, oh well, the Super Nintendo game's better. Nah, no mate. No, it is not. No, not even close. The fucking Pink Ranger doesn't even look like the Pink Ranger. It looks like a man. It looks like a transformer. Are you serious? No, mate.
All of these reasons, when paired with the absurd price point this game is currently being sold at...
It's not absurd though, is it? It was £25. Yes, it was £30 day of release, but it was £25 on the Xbox store a week before the pre-order. So why is that an absurd price? That's not an absurd price. It's probably slightly above where it should be. It's probably should be about, I don't know, £20 or £15. Streets of Rage 4 was sold for £21. That G.I. Joe game, I think, recently came out. I think that was like £30 or something. Like, most of these games are coming out at that similar sort of price point, that £25-30 mark. A lot of these beat-em-ups, the collections from Capcom, they're coming out at about 30, you know, for like old-ass games from the arcade. They're coming out at about 30, right? Like, this is like a reasonable ballpark number. Now, yeah, sure, if you think that that's too expensive, okay, I could see that point of view, but it's not widely out there. It's like maybe slightly too much. Like it, and like I say, these other games have DLC, so you got to factor that in. Like, if you want the full game, you're gonna have to pay more than 25 for a lot of these other games. This game just came out brand new, and it's £25, right? Oh yeah, it's £30, but it was 25 to pre-order if you were an early adopter, right? So this game is not that expensive, like, point of fact. Like, it's not. It really isn't. And obviously, games are going to go down in price. It's a digital game only, and it's going to go down in price. And I encourage everybody to buy it now, honestly, because this is a licensed game. You never know when that license is going to expire. So I say go out and buy it right now if you're interested, especially if you're a Power Rangers fan or a fan of beat-em-ups in general. You don't want to be in a Scott Pilgrim situation where the game gets removed from the store. So I'd go out and buy it right now. Or Power Rangers Mega Battle that also got removed from the store. Go and buy this now while you still can, because it's a licensed product and the license will expire and then they won't be able to sell it anymore. So go and fucking buy it now. But if you want to wait for a sale, you want to chance it, okay, then get the game on sale. You're entitled to do that, but it's not going to be much cheaper. Someday it might be lower than £10. Someday it might be $7.99 or something like that. But how long are you going to have to wait to see that kind of price drop? And are you prepared to wait that long? I say go for it right now. The game's fucking worth the 25 all day and all night. Go for it. If you're playing other stuff and you don't really have time for it right now, get it in the January sale. That's plenty of time. You know, that's plenty of time to, you know, but you don't want the license to expire. This game will probably be off the store by the end of next year because it isn't selling well, right? You do realize that. So if you want to play this game, I suggest you pick it up. I'll pick it up soon. Okay, that's my opinion, and that's what I'm going to tell you. This isn't going to be like Shredder's Revenge, where you can pick it up years and years from now. No, this game is going to be on the store, and it's going to be gone. and then people are going to look back on it. It's like, oh my god, what happened to that really awesome Power Rangers game that was 6-player? And they're not going to be able to play it because they didn't buy it at the time. Buy the fucking game now. Don't listen to this guy. I'm serious. Like, this game, like, hopefully they do a physical. I'll buy it for the Switch. Hopefully. I'll all night, if they do a physical, I'll get it for the Switch too. Not the Switch 2, but the Switch as well. Or the Switch 2, whatever. I'll get it for the next Switch. Whatever they want to do. Like, I don't think it's going to make a physical release because it hasn't sold well. So, we'll see. Let's just finish off this video and then final thoughts, eh? And like I said, I haven't got anything against Top Hat Gaming personally, but I just don't agree with him at all. The shenanigans he's talking here, I don't agree with it. Apart from the bits I did agree with and I credited him for. Okay.
Can't recommend it to anyone right now. However, I guess if you enjoy a bit of janky gameplay and don't mind...
How is it jank though? It's fucking good gameplay. It's like minor flaws we're talking here.
Flaws, I'd say wait until the price drops, then it might be worth a shot. This title didn't quite hit the mark for me, but let's be real. The last decade has spoiled us with incredible beat 'em ups.
I don't see how this is better, bro. Like, look at it. And yes, you might be suffering beat 'em up burnout. That's fine. But I do not play games that look like this. They're Pukesville. They make me want to throw up. I don't like games like this. Like, that kind of art. I don't like it.
So don't forget, I can get you most of them for cheap. 60% off Streets of Rage 4, 78% off River City Girls, or the thrilling Double Dragon Gaiden slashed by 80%.
Why is Double Dragon Gaiden, like, again, look at the state of that. Look at the graphics, right? That clearly is not as graphically competent as the Power Rangers game. The gameplay is a roguelike, or I don't know if it's a roguelite or roguelike. Okay, I get them mixed up all the time. But whatever, the point is you play each time, and each time you earn more fucking money and shit, and then you can upgrade your character. It's like a beat-em-up RPG, right? It's not the same thing, okay? You're not buying a proper beat-em-up there. It's not like an old-school Double Dragon, okay? This game shouldn't have been called Double Dragon. It should have been called something else, because it's not a proper Double Dragon game, in my view. The characters look ugly. I don't like the art style, and I don't like the gameplay, what they're going for with this game at all, okay? Like, if it's really cheap, I might pick it up. But I'm not interested in that at all, right? And you're like, oh, you haven't played it. No, I haven't played this one for the reasons I just gave you. I know all about it, right? The gameplay is slow. He's trying to say the gameplay is slow in Power Rangers, but the gameplay is slow as ass in this one. And it doesn't make sense. Like, so the gameplay is slow as ass. Gameplay is slow as ass in this game. This game is only 2-player. It's not fucking 6-player. This game has worse fucking aesthetics. Like, it looks like shit. Are you telling me that looks better? I disagree. So, what makes this game worth buying over Power Rangers? Oh, it's cheap, you're going to say. Like, okay, but you get what you fucking pay for. And this game was £25 when it released, and no one said shit about it. Did this guy get a review copy or something? Like, I don't know. I don't know the shit about him, but a shitload of YouTubers did get review codes for this fucking game, so a lot of them praised it because they got it for free. And that's not me attacking him for that. It's just like, yeah, fine. If I got a free code for it, I'd fucking play it. But guess what? I'm not going to spend £25 on it. Whereas Power Rangers, I will spend £25 on because it's a game that's clearly worth £25. Does this game even have online? Like, I don't even remember. Let me Google this. What is it called? Double Dragon. Let's finish the video and then I'll Google it.
Plus, with my affiliate links, you can get up to 9% off thousands of other games too. So don't miss out. You deserve quality. Treat yourself and have some fun. Cheerio!
Okay. Right, hold on. So, what's it called? Double Dragon Gaiden. Double Dragon Gaiden. Right. To save the long fucking search and all that. Okay, to look it up. Double Dragon Gaiden is 2-player co-op online. Okay, so there you go. Right. But it's not 6-player fucking offline. And who wants a fucking Power Rangers game that isn't 6-player? It blows my mind. Like, this is huge. This is, like, huge for me. Like, I'm really happy to own this fucking game. Well, I say own it. It's digital only, so I don't really own it. Jack shit, do I? But it's fucking well worth your time and money, as far as I'm concerned, okay? Now, like I say, I don't have it in for Top Hat Gaming. This video just showed up in my feed, and as you've been seeing, I've been playing this fucking game non-stop for the last few days, and I think it's fucking phenomenal. I've put up fucking 4 videos for it on my channel and all that shit, and I just can't. It's like a flawless game. Like, honestly, like, no game is totally flawless, and we've been over this, and you've seen everything that I've said, and you've seen everything he said, and what I agree with him on, and all that sort of stuff. But really, this is a near perfect game. Like, if you're a beat 'em up fan, I can't recommend this game enough. I swear it's like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. I can't fault it, man. Like, everything I can think of, like, I wanted to beat 'em up, this delivers. And more. It gives you, like, a Star Fox type levels, or like this guy says, Space Harrier, where you go around and shoot things. It has all the Zords. It has boss battles with the bigger enemies. It has a conclusion, a final battle. Like, everything is done well. It's not perfect. No game is perfect. But this is as close to perfect for a Power Rangers game we've ever had. This is by far the best Power Rangers game. Okay? No, you can't say it's the Super Nintendo game is better with a straight face. This is the best Power Rangers game. It is. Okay? Mega Battle was flawed. I enjoyed it. The Mega Drive game is flawed, but I still enjoy it. This game, yeah, this game is kind of flawed, and I still enjoy it. But this game is far, far above all those other ones I just talked about. It fucking, like, murders Lightspeed Rescue just by looking at it. With and the fucking Super Nintendo one, man, like, that one's one player. It's not, like, I don't even enjoy looking at that game because it aesthetically looks unappealing. So, and you, like, have, like, a foreground and background thing on that game, which is fucking weird. It's like, it's not like a beat 'em up where you can, like, move up and down the screen. You, like, go from, like, the foreground to the background in parts of that game. It's not a good game to play. I haven't completed it, but it's not a good game to play. And it uses the same sprites or whatever that they had in the fighting game, the Power Rangers fighting game. They just lifted them from there and put them in this game. And they don't even look like the Pink Ranger and the Yellow Ranger look like men because they just reskin them. But he's complaining about them reskinning the characters in this game, and they all play the same. But at least they look like females. At least they look appealing to the eye. Like, he takes one of the most flawed Power Rangers games and then keeps saying, hey, why don't they do this? Why don't they do this like they did in the Super Nintendo game? All of those things pretty much they said about the Super Nintendo game were in Mega Battle that everybody hates. Okay? People want to play as the Power Rangers. No one wants to play as fucking Zack, Billy, and fucking Trini. I'm sorry, no one cares. People want to play as the Power Rangers in their suits. Like, most people. Of all ages. So, yeah. This game delivers. I want to say 10 out of 10 just because everyone's shitting on it so much and no one's buying it. But, you know what? Realistically, 9 out of 10. But for me, for how hyped I am right now, it's a fucking 10. Like, it's a fucking mind-blowing game. It's up there with freaking X-Men, Simpsons, all of that stuff. Ninja Turtles, Double Dragon, Streets of Rage, Final Fight, whatever, Knights of the Round. Like, this game delivers. It delivers. That's what I'm going to say. Shredder's Revenge, whatever. It delivers, man. This game delivers. Where it fits in the top 100 beat 'em ups, I couldn't tell you because there's so many good ones. And there's bad ones as well, but there's so many good ones like The Punisher and damn, there's so many good ones. But this game is up there with the best. It's one of the best. And I am going to be saying that till I'm blue in the face. And I don't care if everybody fucking laughs at me, berates me, and tells me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Because the game is fucking mint. The game is fucking mint. Go and fucking buy it. Go buy it. Try it for yourself. Try it for yourself. Hey, if you're watching this and you're a fucking someone who's on Steam, you can play it for a little while, and if you don't like it, you can refund it. Well, there you go. So you can all go and fucking play it for yourselves, and if you don't like it, just refund it, because that's Steam's policy. I didn't make that policy. So do that. By all means, try it for yourself and let me know what you think about it, okay? Because I think this is one of the best fucking beat 'em ups of all time. Straight up. Now, like I say, there's so many greatest beat 'em ups of all time. One of, there's so many of them, but this is up there with some of the greats. This is well worth your time and money. Okay? I know it's been like a million hours, but I had a lot to say. So let me know what you think. And hopefully I'll try and do the Indiana Jones review at some point. But I've got to get the footage together and all that sort of stuff. So, and I've got to finish this video. This is going to take forever to edit. Feel free to subscribe. I'll see you later. And thanks, Top Hat Gaming, for inspiring this video. And continue to do what you do. Just maybe don't fucking rag on this game anymore, because it's fucking amazing. See you later.